to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Greetings, everybody. As I'm sure some of you are aware, I catch a little bit of hell from the fans and listeners of this show every once in a while. Usually it's because of my portrayal of the ginger community. This, for example, sent to me from a listener. Please remember this message. If I make this shirt for you, will you wear it during the mashup? And it says, "Dear 222 minutes, ginger lives matter." And there's a pretty ginger lady holding thumbs up. I absolutely would wear that shirt. And in fact, just to show you guys how important gingers are to me, here are some ginger chews. I found them on the Discount Racket Winners. And they have sub packages. So this is going to go longer than I wanted it to, but whatever. This is what I do for you people. All right. So here.
You people? Ginger lives matter, Tiz.
It's fucking gross.
You can't even suck it up for This is what I'm going to do for you people. This is fucking gross. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back. Sir Twos is back. We've had a couple of weeks where I was missing. I missed a week. Then Twos missed a week. And I don't know about everybody watching the show. But you know when you have like your favorite show and the guy goes on holidays and I just want to get back to how it was. Can we get back to how it was? Yeah. And then I assume there was some people waiting to see what episode 200 would have, whether we'd both be back. And Twos has made it, and he starts out with gingers and then spits it out. I don't know how this show could go. You people, that's disgusting. That's funny. Mashup 200 coming in hot. And welcome back, Twos. Good to see you. It's been a couple weeks.
It's been a hot minute. You been good or what?
Oh yeah. We had fun last week. Quick Dick on, and then the week before, everybody minus some military guys, saying that Lee's Merlin, you were fantastic. So you have that. I have my correction to make this week, though. It's me with a correction this week.
Yeah.
With QDM, I was talking about a semi-overturn between roughly Manville and Innisfree. And turns out that wasn't bad driving. That wasn't bad driving. That was the wind. That was the bad wind. That's what listeners have told me. So I got to make a correction on myself. I assumed it was bad driving because of the trend we've been seeing.
Bang up job, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to QDM. Yep. He answered the call. Okay.
Class act.
Mashup 200. We got a full show today for everyone watching or listening. I don't know, man. 200 is a feat. This has been roughly, what is it now? 4 years, roughly.
Yeah, basically, because we do 50-ish. Well, we take 1 week off for our Christmas, and then the Festivus episode doesn't count. And so, this is basically the 4-year mark, give or take.
So
here you go. Up the Johns. Happy Airborne Friday.
Happy Airborne Friday. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
This is the What No Way Guy beer, or hard iced tea.
A little bit of free advertising, eh?
What? No way.
I got to give a shout out to a guy who came and fixed part of my roof. We had that bad wind come through. This is like 2-3 weeks ago. And it the soffit came off. And then I had a whole bunch of shingles go everywhere. So shout out to Task Tamer. He drove by my house and left me a card. He saw it, wrote down all the things. I looked at it, I'm like, all right, I'm going to give this guy a call. And so he came over and fixed everything. So shout out to Task Tamer and Lloyd. Yeah, I was pretty pumped about that.
Well, once you reach that age in your life, you do start to get shingles.
All right. Twos has given me the instructions this week, folks. I got to read nothing. Normally I come on here and I'm a little bit sour at him because he's got 500 links. And I'm like, you snuck some in? He snuck them all in on me this week. Mashup 200, where Sean has zero clue. Normally I got about 3%, 4%. This week, nothing. Okay. So, Twos, where are we going this morning? I don't know.
That's the thing. There's so many interesting. Okay. So, aside from Chuck Norris dying like 20 minutes ago, which fucking sucks, uh, there were so many things that I was really excited to talk about today on the mashup, including you're not gonna believe how many heists happened.
Okay.
Okay? So maybe we just lead into a few heists until the guests start rolling in. Okay? So, first off, I love the fact that other people are doing mashup headlines now. Go on us in 60 seconds. 5 luxury cars boosted from Brooklyn garage in overnight heist. So these guys, it doesn't exactly say how they got into the garage, but you pay $500 a month to rent this spot in this underground garage in Brooklyn. And so so at 5:15 they made off with a Mercedes G550, a Range Rover, a BMW X5, an Audi SQ5, and an Audi Q5. They ditched a lowly Hyundai on the street with its engine running. They didn't even turn off the ignition. They just left it running, and they swiped 5 pretty sweet fucking vehicles. And this is the place. And it's even like this is how cool of a underground place this is. It's got it's got the lift so you can park underneath. Apparently there was a Lambo in there that they just left. I don't know if maybe they knew something about it. It had reliability issues or something. Okay, we've got a heist stopped. They say mid heist, but this is a little bit it's a bit of a stretch. So what happened was that somebody in Surrey got their credit card stolen, and then it was attempting to be used in Brampton. And then it got pinged, and when the people showed up to pick up the stuff that they had ordered, 3 guys got arrested whose names were not released.
So we
7
can do simple math. Okay, carry on.
Yep. Yeah, credit card stolen in Surrey, tried to use in Brampton, names not released. This one, 7 arrested over robbery of 423 million yen in Tokyo. So what happens for some reason is that when there are large gold transfers in Japan, they pay cash. And so they were all kind of going in separate briefcases and stuff like they all had separate briefcases and they were all kind of converging on the main point. Somebody with some inside information, a bunch of names I can't pronounce. But among the people arrested are Jinru Kano, a senior member of a group affiliated with the Yamaguchi Gumi, a major organized crime syndicate, as well as Yuto Ito, a key member of the group related to Sumiyoshi Kai syndicate, and Takamitsu Fukuhara, a high-ranking member of group associated with Kyokuto Kai, also a major crime syndicate, and Koji Koiki.
Well done on the accent.
Thank you. And then, also, almost immediately afterwards, somebody got robbed of another 123 million yen or some damn 51 million yen. And they're not sure if it's related because all of these high stakes, so 423 million yen is about 3.67 million Canadian dollars. And these guys were just walking around with suitcases going to pay cash for gold. And not like a clandestine sort of way, but just like this is their great purpose and it brings honor to the family. Okay? This was their job. And they all got fucking robbed by a bunch of Yakuza type guys. All right. Now, here is another one. Not quite a heist, but this guy, you could almost call this happy news. So what happened? New York man freed after 19 years in prison for $500 robbery he didn't commit. So he'd been in prison since 2007 because he'd bought a money order off of somebody and used it to buy an oven for his mother. And it turned out that money order was stolen. And so he went away for 20 years until some new evidence emerged and a confession from the guys who actually did it.
He got thrown away for 19 years for $500.
It was one in a very long list of things that he'd done. And so because he'd done so many of those things before, he was facing, I don't know, they've got some kind of an escalator thing, which is like the exact opposite of Canada. But the man is out and he just wants to move forward. There he is with presumably his wife. Okay. Masked mob raid jewelers. Now,
I gotta ask too. This is all this week?
This is all this week, man. This is all this week. I told you. I was like, this is all heist.
I'm just curious.
This is all heist.
Just curious. We all know how Twos likes a good heist on here, and I know all you people.
And then you're gonna say, yeah, and it just so happened that it's on the 200th episode. I know. Right. I have been freaking out all week. I'm just like, I can't even talk to Sean about this. He can't even know. Okay, masked mob raid jewelers. Huge mass mob steals 1.2 million pounds of jewelry in just 70 seconds in armed raid. They smashed a Honda through the glass in broad daylight, went in, held like the security guards at gunpoint while there was a bunch of dudes who came in, just grabbed a whole bunch of stuff, put it all in duffel bags, took off in multiple vehicles that went in different directions. And the one cop that was in pursuit of them then had to decide which one to go after. And he apparently went after this black Acura while the other ones got away. They did arrest a couple people, but most of them are still at large.
If you were robbing a place,
of course you're going to leave in different directions.
No. I feel like how many people are in that thing? Like, is that 15? Something like that? I go, that's a lot of, like, somebody's talking out of that. Somebody's getting squeezed out of that. I don't think that's my plan. Have 15 people come rob a place with me. I think I'm, the Joker from The Dark Knight. Right? He keeps it tight. He literally eliminates the crew that's come. Nobody's crossing him. And I look at that and I go, somebody's talking, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're like,
and 1.2 million.
My job's to kill
$1.2 million of jewelry.
1.2 million pounds.
Whatever. Sounds like a ton of money, and then you split it amongst 15 people. You go, what?
Why did we fucking bother?
Correct.
Okay. This isn't a heist. This is a sunken treasure story. Again, in 2007, this guy was basically the captain of a ship that got sponsored to go look for sunken treasure. The SS Central America, also known as the Ship of Gold, which sunk in 1857. And then they found it. So this ship was carrying 30,000 pounds of newly minted gold, and it sunk. They found it in 2007, and some of the money or some of the gold had been recovered and sold and everything like that. But 500 gold coins were still missing. He got fined in contempt of court in 2015. He was on the run for a few years, living in hotels, paying cash for everything, and finally got busted, got thrown in jail. And so the thing with contempt of court is that you basically, it's not a specific sentence. It's just you're staying in court until you fucking do the thing you're supposed to do, which in this case is tell everybody where the fucking gold is. And he was like, no. And so this dude, there's no picture of him, but he is in his 70s now. And finally, a judge said, look, I don't think he's ever going to tell anybody, so screw it, be on your way. Now, I'm guessing that they also have a drone flying about a mile above him at any given point. And if he ever goes into Canadian Tire and buys a fucking shovel, it's all hands on deck. Vesper, what is up? Marty.
Okay, Twos is going to talk the entire show away, and I got people coming on for the 200th, and they got time slots, and we got to move things. So, Twos, you don't get to sit and chat the entire time. Marty, Vesper, thanks for hopping on.
There's still at least two more heists.
I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Yes, Marty.
The story of the gold reminds me of the story. Do you know that the best counterfeiter of all time was a Canadian? Like, world famous, right? There was a Canadian who counterfeited like $24 million, a huge amount. And he stashed it away. And he eventually got caught, and he bargained with the courts and the government. He's like, you got to let me go, and I'll tell you where the $24 million is. If you don't let me go, I'm putting that, or more than that, 2.4 billion, like a huge amount. If you don't let me go, I'm dumping this money into the economy. So I don't know. That's what I thought of when you guys are talking about the gold.
So did he actually tell them where it was?
He did, and he got out. So he's yeah. Look it up someday. Best counterfeiter in the world was a Canadian.
Hey, that's all right.
Yeah, something to be proud of.
I mean, and
Gentlemen-
also Lisa and I were discussing a couple weeks ago that a Canadian invented.
Frank, by the way, he was a
Wonder
French.
Bra.
He was a French Quebecer. It was Frank Bourassa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no,
The French. That-
Vesper.
Quebec. Quebec.
Okay. We got a short time frame here with Vesper and Marty with episode 200. First off, guys, thanks for hopping on. I assume that there's two things that are sticking out for me this week that I could throw at both of you. One is Pierre going on Rogan. The other is Alberta independence. Marty, I've read a couple of the things you've been writing. I've been like, well, this is interesting. And of course, and I could just throw it at Vesper and you both the same way, which is what has been sticking out to you this week? And Twos, that's superseding. Twos might have some thoughts too.
Well, I haven't listened to the Rogan podcast. I will. It's on my list of things to do. I jump on the treadmill every morning and I go for a little run. So it'll take me two days to listen to it. I will listen to it, but I mean, I'm past Pierre. You guys all know that. I mean, I'm all in on Alberta independence at this point.
Vesper,
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Do we want to show the clip maybe real quick?
sure.
Which clip?
Sean, you're gonna have to unmute me.
Yeah. I'm coming here. I'm coming. All right.
Oh yeah. Well, there's talk about Alberta separating.
That won't happen.
What was that about?
It won't happen. Some people are frustrated, but they, there's some legitimate frustrations. But at the end of the day, Canada's going to be united, and Albertans. I'm born and raised Alberta, and Albertans are seriously patriotic. Canadians.
Very patriotic.
Yeah, they're great people, hardworking.
Some of the nicest people you ever
They
run
are
across.
great people in
Hardy.
Alberta. They are a hardy
It's
people. That's
cold up there. They
It
know
is
how
cold.
to survive.
Exactly. You got to be tough to survive the cold in
Yeah.
Canada. Carve a country like we have out of that cold weather on that big open land. But people just keep on going. And Alberta's got a real kind of rugged individualism.
Yes.
And
Oh yeah.
But,
Well,
If the interview goes on like that for 2 hours, I'm going to have a hard time watching that. I mean, all he was doing was parroting what Joe was telling him. Oh, wow. No thanks.
Yeah, so I listened to probably the first half hour of it, and it was just performative milquetoast. It was unbelievably boring and disingenuous. Like I was listening to it, I wasn't watching it. And so apparently this happens later on. This happens towards the end, so I hadn't seen that yet. But like the first half of it, he shows up, gives him a kettlebell, and then talks about how awesome kettlebells are and how much he loves kettlebells and throws some interesting kettlebell history at Joe. And you're just like, okay, well, let's,
You're making me, again, I'm laughing because you're making me think of the more cowbell clip from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, we gotta have more kettlebell.
I
We
got
gotta
a
have more
fever.
kettlebell.
Yeah,
And the only prescription is more kettlebell.
Vesper, you've been awfully quiet. Are you at all interested in Pierre being on Rogan?
Yeah, man. I thought it was amazing. Personally, I thought it, but not amazing in the sense that it was so entertaining. I couldn't help myself. It was, look, let's be honest. There's no way mainstream media in Canada is going to ever give him or the Conservatives a fair shake. And the only way to override this is to just basically go on the largest platform. Now, a lot of people make the argument, well, it's mostly American. Well, you don't really know that. We don't have the amounts of people. What I can say, though, is it's a large proportion of people that are going to be watching it. And at the very least, we've never really had the opposition member be on such a large platform globally like this, right? We've seen Trudeau and his clowniness. We've seen Carney and, the World Economic Forum. To hear the official opposition have a platform like this that is not constantly with intention with CTV and CBC. I mean, I posted something yesterday. They can't help themselves, man. They got to just keep demonizing or finding any kind of flaw. If anyone's been watching, CTV or CBC or any of the others, Globe and Mail or Global or whatever, none of them give a fair shake. Now they're all complimenting him, but this is the way you override it. You just, you go out to a broader audience.
Well, that's very true, but also nobody I saw somebody posting, and I didn't have a chance to look up whether it was true or not, but like 10 times more people in Canada watch Rogan than watch CBC, right? And so when people are like, oh, well, why is he going to this foreign country to go on their show? Well, first off, Mark Carty kicked off his campaign on Jon Stewart. And secondly,
Good point.
Secondly, even though it's a foreign show, it has way higher viewership in this country than our domestic ones do.
100%. 100% by a factor of 406% combined, by the way, in terms of viewership. So, I mean, we would all wish to have the visibility that Rogan has.
If this was a little over a year ago, we would have been applauding Pierre for doing it.
I don't know. I disagree, but that's me.
Disagree with a year ago? Why?
Yeah,
we were asking him to. I mean, I was on the, I did several podcasts, and we suggested that he come on yours or any, but like I was on the record saying he should do that, and it's part of his pivot right now. I mean, it's by design. He's got a whole new team of campaign managers and people, and it's obvious they're trying a couple of things to see what stick. I mean, the stunt that they did earlier this year of holding their AGM in Calgary, I thought that didn't stick very well. And some of the early influencers that they tried to bring on board, that didn't work very well. So now he's trying this. They're just trying a whole bunch of things. But I mean, and the timing is also super weird. I mean, we're 3 years away from an election, unless they know something we don't know. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that's entirely possible. I don't think an election's very likely in the near term. You got the 3 by-elections coming up. The Liberals win 2 of them, they got a majority, and then they're laughing. I mean, they're already laughing at us, but
yeah.
But Canada is such a fickle country in terms of its like the perception of the House, the people's self-interests. Things can fall anytime in this country. I mean, he even said it to Rogan. I saw the whole thing, and he was telling him, so you're playing, Rogan asks Pierre, so you're playing the long game, and he said, yeah. Like this whole thing is a long game, and it's not the same as a U.S. presidency in its terms. Frankly, I wish we had the American style, like elections, where it's like you got your 4 years, you got your 2 terms, now get the hell out. You know what I mean? But we don't have that, and that's the problem in a Westminster system.
An independent Alberta, so we're going to.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, man, absolutely. I think there are so many the things that Alberta is proposing in terms of its separation is so much of a better system than what we currently have under the Westminster system. There's no denying that, right?
Well, I mean, literally anything would be better. Like when you look at,
well, no, not literally everything, because you wouldn't want North Korea, but that's not the point.
Actually,
I'm talking, bro. Am I a guest or is it you talking this whole time, dude? You've been talking for an hour. What do you want to do? Hey, Marty, me and you just get the hell off the show and let him talk for us. I don't get it. Get your boy in check, man. Get your boy in check, Sean. I'm not going to do this.
That's not what I do. The floor is yours. Come on, Vesper. That isn't what I do.
I love you guys.
Come on.
Okay, well, here. All right, I do want to hear you
200 episodes of Tooz doing whatever Tooz wants to do. I mean, come on. Like, I mean, this shouldn't surprise anyone.
That's right.
2 interesting things I definitely want to hear from Vesper about. So in the last 2 years, Quebec has lost 4,300 jobs. That's their net employment. And they allegedly sparked 613 pregnancies. Quebec father and son banned from donating more sperm. Injunction from the Superior Court of Quebec applies to Philippe Normand and his son Dominique Silos, whose donations have resulted in hundreds of children. Vesper?
You got to make that money, bro. You got to hustle. You got to hustle. You got to hustle.
Well, I mean, they're more fun making money.
What the thing can we say, bro? Like,
it's more fun than it's more fun than giving blood, I guess. But I mean, the weird thing is, will they?
It's more fun.
Well, and on top of it, they're making money hand over fist.
Yeah, oh, dude, don't say that. Come on.
Yeah. Now, I hope they're. one thing I'll say is a lot of
flood.
French Canadians have strong features and they're recognizable. So now you're going to have a room full of. It'll be fun to play the game where put the 613 kids in a room with 1,000 people and try and point them out. That'll be,
I'll be honest with you, Marty. I mean, if the West was smart, you guys would copy what we just did right here with this dude. You guys want to overpopulate everybody and just kick every other nation out of Quebec, out of Alberta, just overpopulate them. This is how the Muslim community works. They walk into any country and they just overpopulate and push out.
I don't know if they do it exactly like that.
Yeah.
Well, they do. They just, they don't have as much fun.
Jeez. Okay.
We got like 4 minutes with these two left too. So you have your question for Marty or Vesper, gents, before I hand it over. I appreciate you doing this on short notice. Now, twos, fire away.
Okay, well, I want to hear about the crazy shenanigans while Marty's out collected signatures and all the weird stuff that's going on. Like, what was the deal with those vans? Did you get to the bottom of that?
No, and in fact, I was going to go over there today just now to see if they're still out there, but then I remembered I have to be on the show. So right after the show, I'll go and check out the vans. But yeah, I got called yesterday by one of the canvassers. I couldn't go to our usual spot, and he sent me the picture of these two vans. So I just drove back and went and knocked on the window of the one guy, and he told me that bullshit story that I put out there, and then he started videotaping me. And his bullshit story is that he's investigating somebody else. Sure, but then why are you videotaping me? If your business is fairly legit, then when I come by and inquire, just say, "Hey, dude, I'm doing this, and thanks so much, and here's my employer," whatever. But his story was convoluted.
Do you have a PI license, right?
Yeah. So no, I'll go back.
Credentials.
Yeah, and I will call the RCMP. I've been to the RCMP 3 times now in the past week. They're starting to know me. I'm like, well, this is it's frustrating and it's unfortunate, but this is what's going on. And the worrisome part is that he's like, call the RCMP. I'm like, yeah, but I think you're the guys who are doing this shit. So like, who do I call? Right? It's and Sean, you remember? I mean, I talked about this when we did the podcast with George and Norm. It's too crazy, man. I got too many coincidences like that. Like, I feel like I'm on a watch list, and I'm testing it. I'm playing with it. I mean, I got a call from a firearms officer on Sunday telling me that somebody was trying to use my PAL to buy ammunition. I'm like, wow, there's some really crazy stuff going on. And I keep thinking that, am I being overly paranoid? But I don't think I am. If they want me paranoid, it's working. I mean, I'm looking over my shoulder. Yeah. It's crazy.
I'll keep telling you this, Marty. I don't think you're paranoid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about being one of the most outspoken Albertans on Alberta independence. You have hundreds of thousands of followers, people following along. You're out there every day collecting signatures.
Yep.
I don't think there's any reason they wouldn't try and mess with you just a little bit. That's just my simple.
By the way, some of it is coming out of Quebec. I just want you to know it's not me or anything like that. Okay, there's a lot of us, the Federalists. We don't want you to go anywhere. So, yeah, don't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
There's an old saying in Mexico: the man who sleeps with a machete under his pillow is a fool every night except one.
Perfect. Yeah. I don't have a machete, but I do have a few things throughout the house.
Before we let you out of here, Vesper, any final thoughts? Marty, any final thoughts?
No, listen, I want to say congratulations to you guys on these 200 episode. Marty, congratulations to you also, dude, on your new gig. It looks to be amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just listening to you do the work that you do, man. I just want you to know the Western Standard they had a really good idea when they brought you on board, man. And so I want to thank you and everyone.
Who was the first guy to bring you on the Western Standard? Do you recall?
Yeah, it was you, I think, wasn't it? We did you was that in their existing studio? You brought me in and we talked with Darshan Maharajan and one other lady. Yeah. No, you're dude, we help each other and that's the way it works, right? So yeah, congrats.
You're welcome, Western Standard. You're welcome.
Yeah. No. We're and congrats on the 200 to you guys for sure. Yeah.
Well,
hey, do you remember who suggested that you should be on Sean's show the first time?
Nope.
That was me. That was me. Who's stepping in?
Yeah.
Anyways, appreciate you guys. One of the
Thanks
things
for the
I
helping out
say,
over the years.
Well,
Yeah.
both of you two have stepped into the role of co-host on this show. You were a part of the 12-hour live stream, which became the #1 episode of SMP last year. So just hats off to you guys for answering the call when it comes up, because us two yahoos, we have a lot of fun on this side, but appreciate you guys helping out along the way.
We
Awesome.
love you out. We love you out here from Quebec too, man. There's a lot of people I know that watch you guys. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh,
I
that's
hope the show goes
All
amazing
right.
to you
Well,
both.
I'm checking out. I'm gonna go drive over there, see if those
Thanks for
vans
hopping
are
on,
there.
guys.
And if you
All
don't
right,
hear it
thanks.
back from me, there's something happened. All right. Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.
All right, so that is Marty up north and Vesper, and we're now joined by Uncle Hack.
Hack, good to see you again.
Good to see you too, boys. How you been?
Wow, good. The last time I saw Uncle Hack, I got called out for muting him. And so I'm like, well, I would love, I tried having him back on as a co-host because I'm like, that should be fun for an episode.
Yeah,
it didn't work out.
I couldn't figure out why. I mean, what is it? Did I do something to indigenous women or something like that? No. We won't start like that. That's not nice.
Well, I mean, you've been making a pretty good name for yourself in the meantime. Canceled shows, controversy. I even saw that you had a protester at one of your shows.
Yeah, how unfortunate is well, I guess maybe some of your followers don't know the story, but we were heading back to Selkirk, Manitoba, just outside of Winnipeg there, and I caught wind, like the radio stations were calling the venue and being like, "Hey, are you familiar with this protest that's planned?" And then the venue owner reached out, and he's pretty rock solid and was like, "We're not canceling, don't worry." But they're saying that there's going to be a protest. So I packed gear to dress like a protester. And the day of, I was looking and I'm like waiting outside the window and nobody's showing up. It's finally like we're a half an hour to showtime. And I was like, well, I'll just go out there myself. So I drew up a sign and then went out and harassed our own fans. And you know what I'll say? Super respectful. I called them. I some of the stuff I didn't put in the video just because I wanted to see if I'd get a reaction. But nobody budged. The only guy that budged was when I said that he was practically like lazy. When I said that you don't work, and that was the one guy that like said, "What? I don't work." And that was like the biggest reaction I got.
Well, I mean, it's like the biggest insult you could possibly give. A blue collar guy, right?
Totally. Yeah. He walked by and he was just like, he threw his remark and he was like, at least some of us don't have to cover our face because I had the bandana on, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because you're going to get me fired from my job. And, and I was like, you don't work. I had a feeling that one was going to fucking hit it. Oh, sorry. Am I not allowed to cuss? I won't.
Oh,
cuss.
you'll be required to. If you don't cuss at least a couple times every minute or so, we're gonna kick you off.
I don't know. Sean's a bit of a stickler when it comes to rules around here. So.
I do like to enforce some rules, Hack, but we got Jim Sinclair coming on later. He's gonna outdo both of you on the amount of F-bombs he drops, and the entire audience knows it, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Did you tell the guy, like, when you got up there and did your show, were you like, oh yeah, by the way, I was the protester? Did you?
I went on stage dressed as the protester and then revealed myself, and then I was like, it was me the whole time. It was like a Scooby-Doo fucking villain reveal.
And I would have gotten away with it
if it wasn't for you meddling protesters.
Now, Hack, last week, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and I'm sure Tooze has a couple questions for you as well, but Ben
Bankus.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm trying to say it a different way.
Bankus.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Bankus, he's been going around. He's been getting sold out shows everywhere, but they keep canceling venues left, right, and center. And, well, I don't know. Just your thoughts on that, because, I mean, you're not a stranger to that as well.
Yeah. Some of these places that you try and go to, there's like a number of things that can cause this that I've noticed, and it's a small minority in whatever town or city that you're going to, and for some reason their voices outweigh what could be hundreds or even thousands of people that buy tickets to a show, which I'm having a difficult time understanding as a venue. You watch these local economies just explode. Even for us, like when we've traveled to small towns or bigger centers, one place in particular that I recall, it was Rocky Mountain House. We went there and we were at a theater, and then there's a restaurant next door, and the owner was like, "What the hell's going on in town?" There's like, "We've never seen this place this busy," and you watch these local, excuse me, local economies explode. And so I don't know if it's the board of some of these places. You know, I have a feeling that it is, that some of these people that sit on the boards of these community ran theaters then make the decision on what is considered entertainment, which is unfortunate, because then you see things like what happens to Bankus or even us.
Although I will say, as much as it does suck, I'm sure, it seems as though every time you get a sold out show canceled, two more sell out, and you get the publicity of having Global do a piece on you, which is pretty rare for a comedian. And then you'll get, you know, some doom scrolling ginger trying to drum up a whole bunch of controversy online, and it just, you become a household name.
Yeah, you become infamous like overnight because of it. And I think that the one thing they fail at is recognizing that is.
Well, I think that's not the only thing they fail at, but yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a lot, you know, like even, I don't know, just recently there was a lot of shit going on with, I was supposed to be a part of the Timmins Comedy Festival. And then some locals got pissed that I was on the lineup, so they caused a stink, and then they dropped me from the comedy festival. But the promoter was going to keep the show, and that was fine. And then the venue then got cold feet, pulled the show, and now they found a new venue, and that show sold out. And the biggest thing that they're talking about now is me coming there, opposed to the comedy festival that has like some very like prominent Canadian figures that are performing there. So now I'm like overshadowing the whole thing.
And it's still in Timmins though?
Yeah, it's still in Timmins.
Okay, perfect. So you got all kinds of Shania Twain jokes to make, right?
Yeah, totally.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, here, I want to show you something. It's a bit of a detour from this, if you'll pardon the pun. But on a regular basis here on the show lately, we've been talking about bad drivers. And there is this one just outside of, I put it up and then Sean took it down because we both clicked the button at the same time. But this was just outside of Tabor, Alberta.
Amen.
Oof.
Now, I don't want to run to conclusions here, but was the name released?
The name was not released. The name, believe it or not, I feel like they don't want to release the names because they tend to be so hard to spell. And the media in this country is very concerned about getting things right and being factual all the time. And they'd rather just not release the name than accidentally put a few extra like J's and O's in the name.
Yeah. Jarrett's hard to spell.
Yes. This was definitely done by some guy named Wilfred.
Yeah. My fellow friends and family down in Tabor, Alberta, famously known for parking on train tracks.
Yeah, well, I think I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if there was a sign put up there in the near future that says no stopping on tracks, and it was written in Hindi.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Like, you know how like every safety label exists for a reason? You know, like do not put this in your rectum. You know, do not do this after whatever else. You know, contents may be hot. This coffee is going to be hot. Things like that. And there's going to be one in Hindi at that intersection. It was right by the bean plant.
Yeah.
And so if you pause it at the exact right moment, you can actually see that guy flicking his bean.
This guy's punned up today, eh?
Yes, he is. Twos, do you got I'm curious. Normally when we do drivers, you got like 7 videos. Is that the only one from this week?
How much time do you have?
Well, we got hack for another 5 minutes.
Okay.
So if you got drivers, give them to us.
Well, this one somebody claimed was Tabor, Alberta as well.
Yeah, but I think the notes on this show that it was
the community notes
correct?
said it wasn't.
That's definitely not Tabor.
Yeah, you can tell by the trees.
Yeah, trees and infrastructure.
And so anyway,
yeah, fuck
and
it.
he's got kind of a weird hat on his head. And then takes off running, and
Oof.
it may not be Tabor, but that went right up his cornholio. So, and look, it's not Tabor, but you could be forgiven for making that assumption because these things they all look the same.
Yeah, it's I was just in Ontario this past week, and I'll tell you, driving the 401, you really like your asshole is tight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sorry, are you saying that like it's a good thing or saying it like it's a bad thing?
Well, you're definitely high alert, that's for sure. You know what? I figured the roads were too safe for too long. You might as well spice it up a little bit. We've had it too good for too long.
Yeah, well, actually, I was talking about it a little while ago. I got cut off in traffic a couple weeks ago by a like 15, 16-year-old girl, just some random blonde chick. And it was nice. I kind of felt like I was going back to a simpler time. Like when you hear a song on the radio that you haven't heard in like a decade or two.
Yeah.
And
you go through the drive-through and they're like, "Oh wow, what this does not
yeah.
Is this a honky?"
I'm sorry. Did I get lost?
Where am I? Am I in a time machine? You're like Brendan Fraser in that fucking movie where he crawls out of that vault, like looking around. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
I can't remember the movie name, but
I know exactly which one you mean.
Where the plane drops on their house.
Yeah.
But no, instead, like, okay, well, you remember in Dude, Where's My Car, where they keep going through the drive-through and the lady's like, and then?
Yes.
And then?
Yes.
It was a fun punchline from a great movie 20 years ago, and now it's just like, holy fuck. It's every time.
I will say I did have a little fun. We did this show, Keys Comedy Club in Toronto, and it was like it was a late show underneath a bar, and there was like, dude, I was the only white dude in there, and not to make this a race thing or anything like that, but it did crack me up because one lady was from Kuwait and like hijab and everything, and I was like, well, you don't like Canada? And she was like, no. I was like, what don't you like? She was like, I thought Canadians were much nicer. And I was like, well, you're in Toronto. It's all of you. You brought your bullshit over here. Where I'm from, we're not talking about what fucking, the Sunnis and the Shiites. I'll tell you that. We're Shiiting our pants whenever we see you coming into town. My mom's losing it right now.
Well, if you're Uncle Hack, it would be like, hi, great Aunt Hack.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so you basically been touring like basically all over Canada, coast to coast. Any cool spots that you've been wanting to get to but haven't yet?
I'd love to get to Newfoundland, but that just seems to be my kryptonite.
Like they don't want you there, you mean? Or
yeah. Last time I tried, I had a few solo shows booked out there, and then the Redditors got all charged up, said that basically the SS is coming to town because I'm coming to do stand up, and they started labeling this bar as like a fucking Nazi bar because I was going to perform stand up there, and then that caused like a shitstorm to happen. So the East Coast swing that I had booked, like I think it was like 4 shows got dropped because of it, which is it sucks.
Well, I mean, you're going to show up on their home territory and work right in front of them.
Yeah.
Kind of a mean thing to do to people in Newfoundland, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's a big ignorant. I know. I understand that.
The movie was Blast from the Past. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay. There we
Yes,
go.
Blast from the Past. Side note. All right.
Sweet.
Any final thoughts for Hack before we let him go?
It's all you, brother.
Oh, from me or you?
Sorry,
asking me something?
from you. Two's got what I was. Never mind. I'm having a morning. Hack.
That's all
Any
right.
final thoughts?
Yeah. Hey, to everybody out there, just continue the great fight against, free speech. I know probably memes are going to be illegal here pretty soon, so have fun while you can. We're all going to the gulag. You might as well enjoy the moments that'll get you there.
I said this to Twos before you let it jump out of here. Just one final thought on this.
Yeah.
I said this to Twos lots because Twos has done a little bit of stand-up, but you go around doing stand-up. Doesn't it just write itself at this point in Canada?
A little bit.
Don't you just stand up and go like, I mean, literally, folks, we're going to be in jail for a meme here pretty quick.
Yeah, that and I'll say this, like there is not a single Canadian city that doesn't replicate itself in some form. Like it sucks because like I love Canada and I like being proud. But when you go to these cities across the country, you're seeing like the remnants of like drug addiction. You can't escape it. There's not one place where you can go be like, that one's the worst. Like literally everywhere looks like East Hastings now. It sucks. It's such a bummer. Like we were just in Windsor and I have never seen anything like that before in my life, where there is boards, like sheets of plywood across all the windows. There's homelessness is like through the roof. You can sense that there's poverty is all around you. And there's like their plan to fix it is to put cameras in the downtown core because they think that AI is gonna, the AI robot is gonna yell at the homeless guy and he's gonna scuttle away. So it's no different anywhere else. So you can't sit there and point at one specific place and be like, that's the worst, because I've been to almost every city in the past 2 years, and it's like rinse repeat wherever you go, and it's a bummer to see. And it'd be nice to see some change in a positive direction more so than what we're seeing now. It really bums me out because you're going to like spread joy, happiness, make people laugh and forget about these things, but it's so in your face that it's almost impossible not to talk about.
Yeah.
Sorry to leave on such a
no.
I'm like,
it was well put. It was well put.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying something frank and entirely truthful.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
So you came on to Mashup 200 to see Uncle Hack give us sober words, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, Uncle Hack's coming on. We're gonna be laughing. Just kidding. It was a great. That was almost a Norm Macdonald type thing. You come on and just do the exact opposite of what's being expected. But thanks
for hopping on, Hack.
Thanks for being a good friend over the years, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on again, guys. It's good to see you. Wish you the best. Love what you guys are doing, man. It's great. And Tuesday, it'd be great to have you on a show again. So if you see anything pop up, if you're still doing stand-up, swing by, man. It would be great to have you again.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll keep an eye out and I'll let you know. Thanks.
Yeah. And Sean, keep doing whatever it is you do.
There we go. I can mute him. Thanks, Hack, for coming on, and we'll send you off the same way I did it last time. Folks, Uncle Hack out of here. And we'll mute him. We'll get him. All right, let's move on with the show, shall we? We're joined now. Thanks, Hack. We're joined now by Chris Sims. Chris Sims, thanks for giving us time again. You were on last week. I got your email. We've been talking about mainstream media. We saw Pierre go on Rogan. We were talking earlier about how many more Canadians watch Rogan and everything we do. Can you walk us through how little Canadians watch the CBC?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was actually just editing a piece there on Rogan and Pierre Poilievre's appearance on it. And it took me like 3 tries to spell foreign properly and also take out the word heterodoxy. One of my friends used that. I'd have to think real hard even what that word means. It means countercultural.
It means you tell everybody on the internet that somebody is into members of the opposite sex.
It usually means unorthodox, which is fine. I just said counterculture. So what I found funny is that a big chunk at the Parliamentary Press Gallery, not all, because Polyev's performance was so well done, a big chunk of the Parliamentary Press Gallery were just freaking out that Polyev would dare go on Joe Rogan. And I just found it so stupid from a media perspective because the Rogan podcast is huge. The dude's got like millions and millions and millions of subscribers. Some of his shows just like break the internet because so many people are watching it all at once. And what I found funny was that folks on the CBC were spazzing out, and the CBC has like rounding error number ratings. So on CBC News Network, that's what it's called now, CBCNN, they've got an audience share of about 1.7%. Put another way, like 98.3% of Canadians who are forced to pay for the thing are choosing to watch something else. Even if you wanted to say, okay, well, nobody wants to watch a news network, that's depressing. Okay, fine. Their main TV channel, like the one with Coronation Street and stuff on it, it still has a 3.6% audience share. Again, and this is prime time. This is right after the 6 o'clock news. Again, that means like well over 96% of Canadians are changing the channel. They're not watching. So for them to get all up in a twist about Polyev going on Rogan, I just found it funny.
Well, here's on your note, I saw this morning, and it was too funny not to share. Are viewers of the CBC the new fringe minority? A close family member teaches communications and media at major university and assigned a paper to his first-year class to discuss should the CBC be defunded. Hands went up. Most of the class asked what CBC was.
No. Really?
And he says, and so you could trust it because the last thing he says is, I swear on my honor, this is true. So.
Oh, wow. See, this is a huge change. So I know, and like, again, not all boomers. Okay. Like I get it. You know, lots of boomers, you know, they want freedom and smaller government and less waste and a lot of jazz. But there's the older generation that are just kind of locked in to mainstream media, traditional TV media. And a big chunk of that is CBC influenced. Even if they aren't watching the CBC directly, the CBC influences Canadian press, right? And between the CBC and Radio-Canada and Canadian press, they can all kind of dominate the narrative of the press gallery. And it turns into high school. And they're all following the cool kid and nobody wants to stray away from the herd. That is why you hear the same thing said throughout the mainstream media, even though the viewership of CBC is relatively small. Like, I just did a quick comparison. This is like yesterday. So like the Rogan interview had only been posted for a couple of hours. And the Rogan interview already had something like 300,000 views. And it had only been up for like 2 hours. And I went back and found, and it was an interesting video. It was about, you know, the Strait of Hormuz. It was about, you know, the bombing of Iran. It was a CBC video. Even had like a front burner thing, like right on it. Good thumbnail. It had like 6,000 views. So it's like 0.01% of Canadians had watched that video. Meanwhile, they were flocking in droves to go watch Rogan. So I think it was smart. If I were putting on my political commentary hat, I think it was smart to go do that show. And actually, it really wasn't that political. I listened to the first half of it, and it was like mostly bro talk about like kettlebells and the origin of kettlebells. Pierre Polyev was nerding out about the history of them, UFC, that kind of stuff. They weren't even really getting into politics that much.
Well, the thing about it is that I think that the people who want to see Polyev fail because they disagree with everything to the right of Chairman Mao are the people who just don't want to see him legitimized in any way. Like, you can't shift the Overton window if you can't even get a glimpse of what's over. Like, if you don't even realize that there's grass all the way over there, there's no reason for the Overton window to move at all.
That's a great point, Toos. So like full disclosure, I've known Polyev for like 20 years, like since we were like staffers back when we were in our young 20s and knew nothing. So like I know, that, he was adopted and that, he was really into fitness and all this stuff. He had even done a bunch of videos back when he was in his 20s, when he was first an MP, like flipping tires over a lot. And it was on CTV Local when I produced it. So that understood. I don't know. I think there's some people that just don't like certain people, and that's it. There's nothing that can be done with it. But from a political reach perspective, if you're trying to get your message out, you got to go where the fish are.
Mhm.
And so that's why, for example, I thought it was smart that Premier Smith went down and spoke to Daily Wire and talked to Ben Shapiro right in the height of the tariff stuff and said, please do not tariff our energy so hard out of Alberta. And it worked because she was talking to people that the Trump administration also talks to.
Mhm.
And you got to believe it, that the Trump administration watches Rogan. So if we can fly the flag down there and say things like tariffs are stupid and they're trade taxes and they hurt us, like, let's work together, let's sign a new trade deal, let's stop this nonsense. It's smart. It's really smart to go do that. So, I mean, people can dislike people for whatever reason they want, but for him to deliver that message of no more tariffs and really kind of ingratiate himself into that zone, I think it was smart.
I mean, he gets to go on the largest podcast known to man. What are we even
Yeah.
talking about?
I know.
The thing that caught me off guard when Vesper said, I don't know if I would have, and I should have, sorry, Vesper, I should have asked you about it, because he said a year ago, like, or however long ago now it is, when supposedly they turned down, not supposedly, they turned down going on Rogan during the height of the election. I thought that was a poor decision. I still think that was a poor decision.
I think so too.
Right. And so you fast forward and you go, you get to go talk to the largest podcast known to man right now. Why wouldn't you? That's, I mean,
Well,
realistically.
If
and
I
if
was
I may
to,
say,
yep. Sorry,
Daniel
Sean.
Smith, when she ran for the UCP, did the Donald Trump thing that he did to run for president. He went on a whole bunch of shows. I'm like, he's going on Theo Vaughn, and forgive me, there was a streamer that I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice. But he went to where Chris just said, went where the fish are.
Yep.
And Danielle Smith, when she was running for Alberta, where did she go? She went to all the podcasters, and then they took clips from her and tried smearing her and everything, but she went and ingratiated herself to the audience, which isn't listening to global news. They're listening to other things.
That's
and so
right.
Pierre's team now, it looks like, is doing that. Is going, well, we didn't win by not going on Rogan. We should probably go on Rogan and change some of the things. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch more to it than that. But to me, he should have went in the middle of the election the last time. That would have been smart.
It was kind of a no-brainer. If I could presume to get inside the mind of the people making that decision at the time, I would guess that they were thinking Polyev is going to be painted as a far-right extremist for even
Bingo.
showing up on the show, and so we don't want.
They already painted him as that.
They
already painted him as that. What?
I completely agree.
This is our whole argument on you're not going to.
We're not arguing. I'm agreeing with you.
No. But it's a whole discussion on the NDP. You're not going to grab the NDP vote. What are you doing? You're not going to win that vote. They already think you're something. They're already painting you that way.
Get all the people
you're
who
both
wouldn't
right.
be voting.
You're both right. If I can put my political commentator hat on for a second, because I've worked in campaigns before. I wasn't part of that decision. But if I were to imagine what kind of discussion that was, in the middle of an election campaign, you are wound so tight, you can hardly remember your own name. Somebody asks you your name, you're probably going to blurt out your leader's name. So that's one. Two, there is a convention. There's a conventional belief that during the middle of a campaign, and here in Canada, they're super short. In the United States, they're campaigning for like a year. Here, it's like 6 weeks. And again, you can't remember your own name. There's a conventional wisdom or thinking that you don't leave the country. So barring some catastrophe and the PM has to go somewhere, God forbid, during an election campaign, you stay in Canada. So there's that. And to your point,
who decides that?
Pardon me?
Well,
It's just been like staff. There's been war rooms. Like, it's just been convention all this time. I'm just letting you know. Like, I'm not saying whether or not it was good or bad. I'm just
like a
letting you
tradition
know.
almost more than a convention, maybe then.
Right? Like, it's how do you put this? It's like you don't say, the Scottish play from Shakespeare in the middle of a theater, right? It's just kind of convention, right? There's a lot of superstition and personality in politics. These are human beings. So there's that. Also, the thinking was probably, to your point, I forget who made the point, either Sean or Twos, that he would have been painted as far right, blah, 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 in there with Trump, et cetera, et cetera. And it was already there. And so who knows? I think those two factors played in. The key question, and really smart pollsters, people who do deep dives on this stuff, and I wouldn't really call them partisan, they often talk about winning the undecided. They have to win the undecided votes. So there's the hardcore, to your point, the hardcore NDP vote, okay, who will never vote to the right of the NDP or the Green Party. And there's the hard, right, what I would say, and they will never even wiggle over to the Liberals ever. So those two camps are established. There are not that many people. I think less than 1% of Canadians have ever been a member of a political party, or less than 2%. Like those pools are shallow pools. They're small pools. The big catch is getting the swing voter. So I guess they just did a calculation and they're like, we're not going to get enough swing voters if we go on Rogan. Now, I don't know if that was smart or not. I do know that Rogan gets an awful lot of eyeballs. I do know that normal people listen to Rogan all the time. And if I may, quickly, the nature and medium of a podcast is so different. Like the way I'm talking to you guys right now, we know each other really well. We've been talking for years. But the way people listen to it themselves, they do it while they're walking their dog. They do it while they're, cleaning up the house. They do it on the weekends. They're doing it while they're commuting. They do it in moments where they're more private and introspective. It makes them think a little bit differently, and that's why they love the long form and the comfort of repetition. So it's totally different from broadcast media and the 8-second clip.
And it builds familiarity.
Sure does. Sure does. And so I would argue that's why it worked well for Premier Smith. That's why we do the Taxpayers Federation podcast. And you get to know people. So we'll have to see. But head nod there, Sean. Whenever I'm describing you to people and I'm saying they need to listen to your podcast, I say he's Canada's Joe Rogan. Like I straight up describe you that way. So
well, I appreciate that. I'm when I go back to like there's this unwritten rule. Somebody put unwritten rule. That was Brett right there. I'll pull it up.
Oh, good term. Unwritten rule.
Unwritten rule that you don't go to the States. Two's already pointed out that Carney went to the States and started there, right?
Not during the election.
Well, not during the election campaign.
Yes. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I also think
so nerdy. I know it's dumb.
I'll bring in a sports analogy.
Okay.
When Michael Jordan was in the NBA, they weren't allowed to have color on the shoes. Okay. There was a fine that came with that. And they went, wait a second, it's just a fine? Yeah, it's just a fine. Okay, let's just pay the fine because if we sell enough shoes. And you know where Michael Jordan went to. Sometimes
basically
an unwritten rule.
Did the Conflict of Interest Act methodology
when you look at this, you go, okay, we're not going to get a fair shake in our own country. We already know that. So why would we play by their unwritten rules? Why don't we go around it and do something different? That's what should have been said. I don't care if people know their names, don't know their names, carry on with it. At certain points in history, you just got to look around and go, something is very off. We're not going to get, it doesn't matter what I do. They're writing me off as I'm all these things. And we just saw that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
If I can extend the analogy, so as we know, Rogan is a color commentator for UFC, and I grew up watching boxing. I'm old enough to remember watching boxing, traditional boxing. Imagine, I still remember how exhilarating and cool it was to first watch UFC, and so it's not kickboxing, so they're not just using their feet, and it isn't just your hands, they're just going for it. It was so unconventional and so over the top, so to speak, that it worked.
Over the top, great movie, by the way.
It was, definitely. It just caught on. So, I totally see all of your points. I think I'm just trying to explain, I guess, what their thinking was at the time. And again, now, it looks like in the spring, it looks like Carney's going to firm up a majority, but anything can happen in politics. But I don't think there's going to be a federal election anytime real quick. I think we're probably waiting for a little while for that, probably 2 or 3 years, give or take, seeing what happens. So it was good that I think from the taxpayer's perspective, it was good that Poilievre went down there, that he got the audience with Rogan, that he spread the message that tariffs are dumb, and that we should probably change that. I'll put it this way. So far, the usual commentariat on the mainstream media that is constantly bashing the United States and not helping to get a new trade deal, that's not helping. Like, we do $3 billion worth of trade with them every day. Every day. Like, us signing a deal for apricots from Portugal, that does not even come close to how important our trade and economic relationship is with the States. So probably a good idea to use some soft soap.
Now, to be fair, though, apricots are really hard to come by in this country outside of a very narrow window. As somebody who spent a lot of time brewing beer and not inherently tied to Reinheitsgebot, it can be very hard to find apricots out of season.
So my husband's grandfather, who survived the Second World War and is no longer with us, and he's amazing. He used to make his own schnapps, something. It was white liquor from his own apricot tree.
Oh, yes.
Apricot schnapps?
Whew, I could clean my VCR heads with that stuff. Holy smokes. It was amazing.
Grandmother Newman liked apricot schnapps. Just saying. Chris, before we let you out of here, show us your shirt, because that's a new one. Local money printer. Oh, support your local money.
And it's Trudeau's face on it. You know, we rail against carbon taxes, and we still have to. The consumer carbon tax took more than $40 billion out of our pockets before it was finally gone. So there's that. But what he did by firing up the money printer in the middle of lockdown, printing hundreds of billions of dollars out of thin air, that's inflation. That is why we can't afford jack right now. And we're going to be feeling that now, probably, I'm sorry, for like 10 years. So yeah, this is a new one. Support your local money printer.
10 years would be optimistic.
Yeah, I'm trying to be sunshine here, Toos.
It's only going to be, the ripple effects are only going to last a decade, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Now
Chris,
yeah.
We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you coming on and doing it back-to-back weeks. You've been a fixture of this show over the 200 episodes. And
thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you always come on and lay it down real fast, and appreciate you being here.
You guys really
see
make
you
my
soon,
day.
Chris?
Yes, very soon. I will come visit.
All right. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Looking forward to it.
All right, Twos. I'd love to say that you get to ramble on, but I've had two people sitting in the background, like Jamie Sinclair. Okay, you showed up an hour and like 20 minutes ago. Twos thought I was playing something here. I'm like, Jim just showed up early. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, sure, that's what he like. Twos is on me that me and you had some like thing cooked up.
Well, that's what happened last time. So
I guess we have done that.
Once
all right,
bitten, twice shy.
And then Lee's Merle hopping on as well. So, once again, if anyone's catching on to parts of this theme, Jim and Lee's have both co-hosted this show in the history of the 200 episodes. So what the heck, might as well bring them back and I don't know, have a little bit of a discussion. How's Lee's and Jim this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you, Lisa, our favorite Saskatchewan girl?
Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm doing great. It's hard to come in the show after Chris Sims, though. Like, I mean, she is such a hard act to follow.
Yep.
She's such a top shelf human on every level. So we're gonna try our best to keep you entertained here this morning, boys. But happy Mashiversary.
Ooh, I like that.
It's the Mashiversary today.
It is.
Yeah. Congrats,
Tears,
boys.
Tears, did you bring yourself a beverage?
Oh, let me just check here real quick.
We should have a quick drink for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris has also passed away today.
Oh,
yeah.
How sad.
I don't know if you'd heard that or not, Lise, but Chuck Norris.
Chuck.
Too bad.
God bless his soul.
So cute. Oh, so cute. Yeah, it's a hard day for dudes around the world right now who really resonated with him.
Yeah, there was so many things I was excited about for this episode. And then, Chuck Norris got put into the hospital in Hawaii yesterday, and the comments were just a whole bunch of classic Chuck Norris jokes about like,
did he die plugged in a volcano? Like, is that
or like, I hope the hospital is okay. or the hospital probably has to be hospitalized, or something like that. But I kind of feel like maybe we should
Good job, Sean.
Yeah, we should
for
do
Chuck.
something.
But I mean, I'm being there. You go. It's a double.
Atta boy.
I hope we do something like what they do with the Dalai Lama, where when the Dalai Lama dies, they go back to Tibet and they find a newborn baby that bears, and I don't know how they do this with an old man, but they find a newborn baby that bears a resemblance to the old man. And then that person becomes the Dalai Lama. And then, gets like all the way to the front of the line at the sex cult. And I feel like we need to do that with Chuck Norris. So we just need to like scour the world for a bearded baby.
Hey, whoa, you're way off the mark here, too. Like
Speaking of bearded babies, the floor is yours.
That's like making a slap shot too. Okay, you don't do that. Like Chuck was perfect. We're always gonna remember him. He'll live in history. Do not try and replicate Chuck Norris.
I think you
don't do it. It's a terrible idea.
I hear what you're saying about Slapshot 2, but what about Delta Force 2?
Hey,
what about Kickboxer 2?
Chuck Norris could do 1 million shows, okay, but he's dead. So we got to honor his death and be happy for everything he's done for us, and he'll live on in history forever. I say go carve a face on a mountain with him, or go get a mountain and carve his face on it. Like something like that would be super cool. But don't try and replicate him. He's a one, like there'll never be another person like him ever on the planet. So let's not try and do a sequel. Okay.
I don't know. I feel like me and Chuck Norris's mom have one thing in common, and it is that we are raising like just absolutely reckless kids. The end. 2 of my sons are in arm casts right now. Not 1, 2. Nice. This is a personal family record.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Were they arm wrestling
kids aren't breaking,
no, they weren't.
Kids aren't breaking their arms and legs nearly often enough these days.
Agreed. When we were little, somebody you knew was always in a cast and always had stitches or always had their teeth knocked out. There was always like a little personal injury circle around a group of friends. And now they're so careful. They're so careful that nobody gets. So anyway, yeah, it was a sports injury and a playground injury. So
nice. Good for them.
Anyway, yeah, Chuck Norris, raise your boys to be kind of Chuck Norris like. That's my advice.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Here's some of the best
Chuck Norris and everybody.
Here's some of the best Chuck Norris jokes for you today. Okay.
Go on.
Okay.
Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he wants. When Chuck Norris does push-ups, he isn't lifting himself. He's pushing the earth down. Yep. Time waits for no man unless that man is Chuck Norris.
Oh. That's sweet today. I mean, that's
hey, under Chuck Norris's beard isn't a chin; it's another fist.
yeah, there's that one. There's that one. I tell you what, they're gonna have a hell of a time cremating that guy.
He's
just have to give up.
Yeah,
it'll be one of those.
Chuck
He's
Norris,
in Hawaii. I'm telling you, a volcanic burial would be appropriate. Or just like leave him on the mountain, where they just leave him on the mountain and let nature.
You plug a tornado with Chuck Norris's or a volcano with Chuck Norris's body in Hawaii. One will explode in fucking Iceland or some fucking thing.
The Philippines.
That's a great way to get back to a point that we've got to re-evolve from shrews all over again. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. We'll put him in a volcano.
Don't fuck with his body. Just leave it be.
It's so funny.
Chuck Norris once kicked a horse in the face. That's why they're now called giraffes.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's good.
No, he actually built the hospital
if you spell Chuck Norris in Scrabble, you win forever.
Yeah.
He well, I mean, the guy uses Tabasco sauce for eye drops.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh God, that's
toughie.
Hilarious.
Just a toughie.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's cool.
R.I.P.
One more. Chuck Norris, tears cure cancer. Too bad he never cried.
Oh, there you go.
All right, sorry. All right, let's pull this back in. Smash up 200.
Reel it in.
R.I.P. Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Okay,
oh my goodness.
So
okay,
Jim, do you got stuff you want us to talk about, or is this?
Yeah.
just
Well,
random
hey.
session?
Oh, I was going nuts in the background as you guys were talking about the Polyev interview.
Okay.
On Joe Rogan. Can we just pick up where that left off?
Sure.
Okay. Who here has seen it? Jim, have you seen it?
Well,
about 40 minutes into it.
Here's
okay.
the thing.
Okay.
looking at that type of politics right now is driving me nuts. It's
Fair enough.
it's voting conservative is like the same definition of insanity. Like, the more you do it, the more crazy you are. Like it's there. There's nothing that the Conservative Party can do to change Western lives and get our values back in Western Canada. Like it's a shitty. It's the truth. I'm sorry that I'm saying this, but hey, listen. Uh, there's Canadian values that deserve to be fought for and stood up for, and I believe you guys in Alberta are doing it. And I'm sorry that I like Polyev. Yeah, great guy. It's just I can't see how he can drag us out of where we are by having to pander to the East once he gets elected. And we've seen it for 150 years. I don't know, like he's got to come up with a strategy. He's got to say, listen, I'm going to give the West a voice. I'm going to get us out of all this debt. And nobody will ever vote for him. So he's got to pander to the East, and us Westerners, we just fall for it every time. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's the truth. That's how I feel about that.
Okay, fair enough.
Lise?
I don't think you're alone there, Jim. But I thought the interview was extraordinarily revealing in that we got to hear from Polyev in a format that we've never been able to hear him in, really. And he even referencing, twos, that you're 40 minutes in. This is an incredible moment. It takes exactly 1 hour for Joe Rogan to get to this question. He goes, okay, so they've been chatting for an hour. Friendly conversation, bro conversation. Takes 1 hour for Joe Rogan to go, okay, well, that all sounds amazing. But why'd you lose? And it's just in that moment that you hear the mic drop. And I'm like, there's the question. Then the question isn't really answered. They sort of direct to Trump, making fun of the 51st state. I thought Polyev was overly dismissive of Trump. And this is actually part of the interview that I took away, is that he was dismissive of a lot in that interview. So for instance, he was dismissive of Trump and his approach to just joking or whatever 51st state goings on before the federal election. He was dismissive of Alberta independence.
Yep,
And
we played that clip before you came on.
You did it. Like I thought that could have been handled a lot more gently than it was. He knew nothing about Saskatchewan's canola industry, absolutely nothing about the canola industry. So when they were talking, so Joe Rogan is a health nut and goes off on seed oils, right? Seed oils are one of Saskatchewan's biggest exports, Alberta too. And Polyev campaigned on a canola farm and does not seem to know how canola farms come to produce.
Most of the land that he represents in Ottawa grows fucking canola.
Okay, so there is a huge disparity between what Polyev knows about the oil and gas industry and what he knows about the ag industry. And I feel like he could have done a lot better job advocating on behalf of Canadian ag than he did on the Joe Rogan podcast. So that is just sort of one of, you guys watch the podcast and let me know if you agree or if you disagree. Thank you, Michelle. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, that's why Saskatchewan is working towards independence. So, all in all, I thought it was a net win, though, in terms of just proving to the people that unscripted Polyev is a winning Polyev. So in the lead up to the election, we didn't get Polyev outside of
I like that, by the way.
Thank you. Out of 5 slogans, right? If it didn't relate to those 5 slogans, Pierre Polyev wasn't talking about it.
Thing, the stuff, other stuff, the thing,
right.
Verb, the noun.
Yes, just slogan after slogan after slogan. And what they actually talk about it in the podcast, the Apple moment, where Polyev is in the Okanagan and he's
chomping. This is the best moment.
So he reveals in the Rogan podcast that leading up to that, that was like a 3-week-old clip that his staff just sort of recorded. Like Polyev reveals that he believed that the guy asking the questions was a print journalist. So he was just answering the questions off the cuff, like he would if somebody was writing down his answers. Nobody there was really aware that there was a camera running. And then when it was released and it was such a big hit, it just shows how thirsty people are for authenticity in the political space. Okay, the
Absolutely.
success of the Rogan podcast and the success of the Apple moment tells the Polyev camp and the Conservative Party everything they need to know about how people like listening to their politicians. Okay, more of this. More of this. Their conversations. Why was he not having conversations?
Because they assumed they were in the lead, and if they didn't step on any landmines, they'd win.
That's what
That's
they
what it
thought.
looks like to me.
And then they
steer
were
the ship.
outgamed.
Just
They were
don't
in the
steer to
last
interrupt
six
waters.
in the last 6 weeks, they totally underestimated the ability of the Liberals to be duplicitous, to sneak in, steal their entire winning campaign, and they could not pivot fast enough into anything else. They were so confident in that win. They were cocky and they lost. So I mean, some.
I bet you all of his staff were from the East as well. I don't think they had any Western staff
guaranteed
on his campaign.
And if
once
they,
again they pandered to the East, it's gonna keep biting us in the ass. I pray for all the men and women that are collecting names in Alberta. That's gonna save Canada. If Alberta separates, Saskatchewan, whatever we decide to do, at least Canada's gonna have to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah.
And it'll bring our morals and values back. And the more we talk about our morals and values is what's going to bring us across the finish line, because we can't fall into their narrative about money. We've got to talk about morals and values and how do you explain where they went and why they're gone? Because we have a culture out west and we should be proud of it. And many people spent their most precious resource or their most precious currency of blood fighting for our way of life, and it's lost now. It's important that we get back to the roots of where our country came from, and we got to pray that comes back, because if not, this country is not going to be what it was and what it was meant to be 150 years ago. So yeah, we could talk about Polyev for 4 hours, but it's not gonna help us.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question for all of us here. Daniel Smith talked about MAID this week.
That's coming up in the awesome news section. We have a new section special just for the 200th episode.
So necessary. Yeah.
But yeah.
So necessary.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just curious everybody's thoughts, right? Daniel Smith comes out and basically says, we got to put guardrails on this system because they have basically let it off the rails. And, I think anyone in Canada that's paying attention.
Yeah.
I was just in Panama City and I talked about it with people from all over the world about, I think it's 5.1% of deaths now all in Canada are MAID, right?
Yeah.
We have the tier 1 or the track 1, track 2, and you're just like, death isn't for, right? Like there's
it's
just a
literally
whole bunch of
the only thing you can say right now that is made in Canada.
Oh, terrible.
Too soon, Too soon. Quick plug for my girl Sheila Gunn Reid over at Rebel News. She just has a video brand new this morning discussing all of this and really distilling it in a way that should be required watching for every single Canadian, because they've started. I mean, the government of Canada deplores us so much, really has so much contempt for us, that they've made the default healthcare treatment across the entire country. And it is our old bubbas and our nanas and our grandmas and grandpas that are being sent off into the netherworld by Cupid death doulas. And Danielle Smith, of course, being Danielle Smith, first in the nation to say, we're going to pump the brakes on the bureaucracy here because it is working too well. It is working too well.
It's like the only time that's ever happened, ever.
I mean,
literally this week, I was in a conversation with a guy that I respect, and we brought up MAID, and I brought up the 5.1%. He's like, oh, well, my mom was just in the hospital for a bladder infection, and they offered her MAID.
This, Sean, this is so common.
So the more you talk about it,
when you have bladder infections or bladder issues, it often leads to a rapid degradation of your mental capacity. So you're sitting in a hospital, you have an easily treatable bladder issue. This is especially prevalent in women. This should be a red flag. If you're in the hospital with bladder related anything, nobody can talk to you about MAID. As soon as they get that infection cleaned up and they get your urine flowing again, you clear up mentally, you go home and well. Again, my props to my girl Sheila Gunn Reid. She has a documentary. It's called Made, The Dark Side of Canadian Compassion. And it details a story exactly like this, Sean, where somebody's grandma got a bladder infection. It got worse and worse, became a kidney infection, went to the hospital. They said, would you like Made? Would you like it? Here it is. That was how they were going to cure her bladder infection.
Technically,
treatable with antibiotics. Like, it's insane what's happening.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. They don't have a lot of complaints from their customers. Nobody's having to go in and fix the bot's job.
Actually untrue. There was a study released this week where they did a retrospective survey on family members of Made recipients.
Yeah, now the family members, I'm sure, have quite a lot of issues with it.
Oh,
but there have been
say,
no 1-star reviews from the people who've got the procedure done.
Scan, like, just tap your card on your way out. That's it. Just leave a 5-star Google review.
Yeah.
But no, this is actually, like, family members are deeply distressed about how this is happening, how quickly it's fast-tracked through the Canadian system. And it even went so far as, like, they surveyed one person who was like, I found out my mom died after the event. That's how poor the communication is. However, the response of the bureaucracy.
That's not my phone, by the way.
No, sorry, it's mine. We're just gonna. Sorry, it's mine. My kids still use the home. I make them use the home phone.
That's fun.
But this Made thing, like, going back to this, the bureaucracy's response to this survey saying, oh, the loved ones are unhappy, is going to be to shovel more resources at this crazy program. And what Danielle Smith and what Alberta is doing is incredible. Awesome. Needs to catch on in all the other provinces. Thanks for listening to my rant, boys. Thank you.
Anytime.
We enjoy having you on, ladies. We enjoy having you on. I don't know, Twos, before we let either one of these fine people out, is there other things you wanted to bring up? I know you got a list of things you're... Like, I rolled in, Jim, and you gave me nothing. And Lee's, I feel like
I got stuff I want to say.
Go on.
Well, go on, Jim.
Okay,
Jim?
well, I'm just waiting.
Since when does Jim ask permission?
Hey, I'm polite. Hey, listen, that
Jim is like ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first.
Great
all right.
points to bring up and valid. I just all I want to say is congratulations on your 200th episode. This is amazing. You guys are giving voice to people to be able to say what their concerns are, which is important in Canadian, what's going on right now in Canada. The other thing is, hey, I've asked for the heroes of the week to be the people collecting the names, and they're out on the front lines. You see what they're going through to try and get the names that they need for this referendum coming up. So my heart's out to those people, and I salute you for what you're doing. It's super important. A little update on the Victoria Cross initiative that I'm part of. That's going to be read in the House on the 15th of April. We've been invited down. I've said I'd love to go. I haven't received anything back from the Liberal government. I don't know. If
federal.
I'm still on the list
In Ottawa. In Ottawa,
in
Jim.
Ottawa. So
okay.
And also, if you're in Ontario at that particular time around the 15th of April, they're breaking ground for a Afghanistan memorial out front of the museum at the Military Museum War Museum in Ottawa. So that's going to be super cool. And yeah, no, I'm just proud of you two guys and keep on. Hopefully see 1,000 of these shows up there eventually. So
yeah,
I don't know how old we'll be then, but I'd like to come back for that one.
Me too.
Well, as long as you promise to fall asleep at the end of it.
Hey, if you guys remain being boring, I will fall asleep to you all the time. In fact, if I have a hard
we were
time
wondering if
going
you
to
got
sleep,
made at the end of that
if
election.
I have a hard time going to sleep, I just listen.
If
to you
anybody
guys.
wants to know, okay.
So funny. Tell the story for anybody that doesn't know it. It is so good.
No,
Actually, that was the first time I ever talked to Lise.
I can let two. Yeah, the first time, yes, would have been the Saskatchewan
you
live
came
election
on and
coverage.
I was like, who is this firecracker?
You know, Jules, it's so funny because you're one of those people that if somebody asked me how we met, I would just be like, well, I feel like we've known each other forever. I can't really remember.
She came on. This lady I didn't know came on during the Saskatchewan election coverage and was like an absolute firebrand for 20 minutes straight. And then she left and I was
It's my superpower.
Who
I'm
was
great
that?
for the first 20 minutes, and then everything after that is sort of down. I love this though. I could show
Oh, no,
up.
no, no.
in
It's
20
just that you were only
different
on for like 20 minutes. Like it was
I
just
know.
straight fire the whole time.
It's funny because what people don't realize is when we did the live, well, while we do the live election coverages, we always get people from the provinces where the election is happening, right? And I
Mhm.
always forget that Twos doesn't know them all, so he's getting introduced to a whole bunch of people that I've interviewed, for the most part, for the first time. And I'm like, well, yeah, that would be the first time you two met.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
There we go.
But
I mean,
on
and
that,
we've just continued and continued. It's just been so fun,
exactly,
boys.
exactly.
So,
So
yeah, all the
Sean was
best.
about to detail what happened with Jim.
Please.
Well, hey, wait, you got to give a little background. So play like an
I had
hour
been
of your
drinking
podcast.
whiskey. I had been
Well,
drinking rye for like
Yeah.
3 straight days.
Yeah.
Is
But
that
you
is that where you're
gotta
going with
put
this?
like an hour of your you're just talking back and forth prior to me falling asleep. It's like what you put babies to sleep with. It was
It's like a
perfect.
lullaby. You guys
I
were
think
like
it
a
literally was in this
lullaby.
You guys could make like a
You know what,
like
though?
a tape for people to go to sleep. And
I have
sell
a
it.
full confession. I fall asleep to podcasts. I just do. Like
Really?
I for sure fallen asleep to this before, like 100%. I just
Okay,
I'll
so
just in my brain I'll just
fuck
be like,
you.
I need something
I'm
soothing.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't even hardly make it through the intro, boys. Like I just need a soothing voice, and these are soothing
Yeah,
voices. So
yeah.
don't take it as an
There you
insult.
go.
It's a supreme
You need like a little
compliment.
bit of ocean.
I'm gonna have
in
to
the
start. I'm gonna have to start
background,
off the podcast a little
maybe-
different too.
Maybe some wind blowing.
Yeah, we have the shout out to the military men with Airborne Fridays, but maybe we need to have a shout out to all the people using us as a sleep aid.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah,
some here's
So
some
just
calming.
before you nod off into dreamland, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Hey,
It's
whatever,
like a
as long
comfort
as they leave a
blanket.
like. As long as
Yeah.
they leave a like.
You like a fuzzy blanket in my ears. It's nice. It's just
Yeah,
nice. It's
beautiful.
pleasant.
Beautiful.
That's
Love you
exactly
guys.
what I think of when I think of Sean too.
Sorry. So you guys were doing the live stream on election night for like how many hours? It was like
Well, Saskatchewan was probably 6 hours.
it
I
was a
think prob-
6 hour
probably roughly like that.
Oh, it was like it was an epic. It was an epic live stream.
Well,
And
no,
so then we
well, in fairness, the live stream for the federal election was 12 hours.
Yeah, that was
like
that was
insane.
So
amazing.
like the Saskatchewan
So
one was
good.
like this little
Yeah.
itty bitty baby, right? It was like just a little small, but we rammed through a bunch of guests in a short period of time, and
yeah.
Twos gets to meet all these wonderful people that have had on the podcast,
Yeah.
and we talked about Saskatchewan, and then we're sitting there, me and Twos doing our closing whatever,
At the very
many-
end of the night.
and we were gonna bring Jim back in, and then
'Cause-
we pulled Jim
Because
back in, and,
he's in the lobby in the bottom still at this point,
oh my
right?
God.
and he's
Jim-
snoring, and
Jim
it
Phillips,
becomes
such a man.
True,
becomes
true,
such a
guilty.
man.
Guilty is charged.
Such a man.
Guilty is charged.
My husband will get into bed and say goodnight. And before I can even take the next breath and say my next sentence, he's already asleep. Like it takes
I'm like
one
that.
sentence for him to fall asleep.
Yep.
Me, several hours, but him, instantaneous. Jim was just tired. The end.
Okay, well here
Soothing
I think
voices.
this is.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
yeah, just to go back to your federal one, like you guys had 80 some. How many people did you have on your podcast for that?
It was
for that federal
wild.
one?
Um, no, it wasn't 80. I want to say it was closer to 50 some.
No,
roughly.
we had almost.
No, you guys
we had
crushed
almost
CBC
90,000.
and-
No. He's talking
people-
about guests though, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I
No,
think
no,
we had
no,
60
you
guests.
didn't have 80,000 guests on your show.
No, you had 88,000
views.
live people watching us live. but we had-
Simultaneously.
We had
Yeah.
50. It was close to 60 guests come on over the course of that. It was roughly.
It was
Yeah,
epic.
and,
but
and
you
it was
guys
almost
freaking
half a million
epic. Every
people
other
watched it
media,
the first
okay.
day.
Your guys's honestly quantity and quality of guests blew the entire MSM out of the water. And but that's what we should be doing as independent
Yeah.
journalists is just like blowing them out of the water, like being more interesting, more engaging, and talking about the things that people want to talk about. I love doing election coverage. It's one of my favorite parts of this gig.
Well,
Yeah,
when
it's
Sean
awesome.
and I were first talking about doing it, like the whole idea behind the mashup was what if we did the news, but it didn't suck?
Yeah,
And then we said, okay, well, what if we did live election coverage
but it
that
did.
But it
didn't
didn't suck.
suck?
Yeah.
And so I sat back and I watched entire like 4-hour streams from CBC and Global.
You did,
And I
yeah.
was like, okay, they did this and it fucking sucked. They did this and it fucking sucked. And
Yeah.
then, I even watched some Rebel stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, that's good. I'm gonna
Oh,
steal
that's-
that. I'm
I
gonna
was
steal
so
that.
scared you were
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be like, that fucking sucked.
Yeah. No.
Thank God.
No, I was
Okay,
like,
good.
okay, we're gonna borrow this. We're gonna, yeah, and so yeah, and then we kind of put it together, and
Yeah.
that's the first one we did was the Alberta election. And,
Hey,
It's
speaking
it's
of-
incredibly
about-
necessary. And one of those, like, one of my favorite things about doing election coverage is I always take people on a real estate like review. I'll find a listing in a riding we're talking about, and we'll just do a like live review of a real estate listing.
oh, that's
And like
fun.
it is super fun. People have some real opinions about wallpaper, and I get to do
Sheila.
this on the election coverage. So
Lisa,
Yeah.
I got a question. Have
Yeah.
you been to the Saskatchewan Bush Party at the Cornerstone?
no,
Okay, guess what? Lucky for you. Are
Well-
you going to be there next on the 28th, right?
I don't know if I'm even
What?
around, Jim.
Well, you better. You better.
Okay, well, I'll consult the central
Okay,
scheduling
so,
office.
So let me just lay this out for what happened. So
what
Friday
happens?
night, Sean has a big party.
Where
Everybody
here?
goes to
Where?
that. No, in Calgary.
Okay, so
for
the Cornerstone Forum is coming up in 8 days.
Yeah. So there's
And-
going to be a
Okay,
big
is
party
already?
yes.
Oh,
And-
oh my goodness, that
fucking-
snuck up on me. Okay, okay.
And the night
Sean's
before-
having a big party.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday night, there's Ryan, Henry, and myself. We have a Saskatchewan Bush Party. We're gonna have like 8 cases of Bob in bottles
Oh
at
God.
the Bush Party, and everybody after the show comes to the room that Sean rents so we can destroy it. And we're gonna have a fucking big party. There might even be a bonfire in the
You know
parking
what,
lot.
Jim? All I
You know
Why
know
not
what?
have it-
You know what? Here's a funny story about the hotel we're at, Jim. They actually have a fire pit in the in the front of where you pull up, and they start it with wood. A true story.
Perfect. No, this is gonna be awesome. So there's 2
okay.
nights of great entertainment. One's Sean's party.
If
The other
I
one is the Saskatchewan Bush Party, and we're drinking Bo. So everybody that's going, you gotta come to that.
Bring
So we're all
marshmallows,
gonna be in the
apparently.
same hotel, so it's gonna be amazing.
And
You know-
and here's a
Oh,
link
God, that
in
sounds
case you
fun.
want to buy tickets, except you can't because it's already sold out.
is it?
Hey, guess what? Guess what? I bought,
Can
bought
I just-
tickets for me and Willie, and we're sitting with Henry's table or Ryan's table. But if you want to sit in my spot, Lise,
Thanks,
you can
buddy.
gladly sit there.
Appreciate that
I-
because
I
I'm a
will
roamer.
stand-
I
will
like
stand over in the corner.
I like a Roman. Like I like coming in, doing a little, and then roaming around and doing some visiting and just forever visiting. This is how
Well,
I
I
like
had
to.
to do that last year because Sean kicked
We-
me off. I was
guys,
supposed
we-
to talk.
I
and
couldn't
even-
we couldn't even
buddies, so I
get
just
in
went
the-
talking to everybody on my own.
We couldn't
So I'll be
even
doing
get
the same
into
thing
the.
again.
We couldn't even get into the venue because we got stopped 800 times along the way. Like literally,
Tews.
that's just all I want to do is schmooze. Okay, that's what I
Dude, you
want to
better
do with
make
the.
sure you don't get kicked off either. Okay,
I'm gonna
coming
try.
in to see you.
I-
Don't
I-
get kicked off.
While we're all sitting here, I want to show this. Tuz doesn't. Maybe
Okay.
Tuz knows this or not, but okay.
Look like a
People-
$1,000,000 there.
Watch you
Sean.
look
People,
at you.
people
Looking
been.
good,
Oh
buddy.
come on! What is going on? It
Bro.
won't show the.
Look like Elvis
Ah.
fucking Presley.
Stop, Sharon. Just give me a sec.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
except
right,
much more
calm
barrel
down,
chested.
calm down.
Much more barrel. No, what I wanted to show
Just
was
a hunk of
here,
burning love show.
How did you put your head on my body?
Here, let's try this again. Let's try this again. There. Okay. You go to the
It's-
SeanNewmanPodcast.com and we've got
Oh,
this
yeah.
trial going on because we've been asked about merch an insane amount. Okay.
Yeah.
So we put up a couple Sean Newman podcast things. We put up a Mashup Gunslinger shirt. They will be at the Cornerstone Forum. Just we're
Good.
trying something out here. So if you buy anything off this, I want a picture. I want to know if the quality's good. I want to know if I got to shut this down or keep it going. Regardless, we just started this up this week. So
Okay.
this is new Mashup, folks. Okay.
I got a
Been asking
question.
for a merch store. Go to the SeanNewmanPodcast.com.
this.
All right.
I got a question about your merch.
Yes.
Have you ever been in a fight wearing a hoodie? It doesn't go well, right? So if you get like a sweater for us guys to wear, because if you ever
A
get
zip up sweater.
no, just a
Is that what you
sweater
want?
like
Or
I'm wearing,
like a
it
crew
comes
neck.
off- it comes
Jim
off
wants the crew
easily.
necks.
Comes
Okay.
off easy. Don't just get a hoodie. Get rid of the hoodies. Like just get sweaters for us guys.
Jim would like some Sean Newman podcast combat gear.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I
you-
mean, I can't wait to see the.
I wanna get a
one-star
shirt. I
review
wanna get a-
because
I-
it's no good for scrapping.
Sean
it.
Newman podcast,
gotta-
like
you gotta be
switchblades or
prepared for
something,
a
you know, like
scrap.
a hunting knife.
could be anywhere.
Could you
Could be in
try?
Costco and get into a fight.
I
You
want to
never
get a
know.
shirt that says something along the lines of "I trust men with dusty boots." Remember you
Yeah,
and Chuck
great.
talking about dusty boot men? I'm like,
Oh, that's
there's
so
something
true.
there. There's something there. Either way, Jim, Lee's, thanks for hopping on and doing this.
Love you
Thanks
guys.
so
Welcome,
much,
boys.
guys.
Proud of ya.
Thanks for all the help over the years. Thanks for being great friends.
Yeah,
Well,
you guys are awesome. Proud
It's
of
our
you.
pleasure, boys. Happy Mashiversary.
I love
Happy-
that.
Sorry, Jim, I cut you off, and there we go. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
It didn't matter when you did it. You were going to be cutting
All right.
him off
All right.
anyway.
Twos. We've been going for a little while now.
Yep.
I haven't given. We've been all over the place when it comes to news. We have talked about a few different things. We've talked about heists. We've talked about Daniel
We've talked
Smith,
about most
the big
of the
news.
heists that happened this week.
We talked about Pierre Polyev being on Rogan. I saw that in the comments. People wanted that brought up. Is there anything else you want to make sure we
Yes,
chat about
I'm
on the
glad
200?
you mentioned it. Okay. By the way, do we have one more guest coming on today?
No, because Vance Crowe. Well, maybe Vance is making it. He said he forgot. Now maybe he's coming. So
Okay.
possibly.
Well, I've got one fun clip that I'll maybe save till the end because I think he'd appreciate it. Archaeologists found an ancient Roman military camp hiding 7,000 feet high in the sky. So what happened was that they were there was a bunch of archaeologists looking at the battlegrounds or at the remains of a battleground in Switzerland, and one of the volunteers just happened to go up hiking in the mountains, during some time off, and he found what was an outpost site that was overlooking the battle. Found a bunch of lead sling balls with Roman Legion 3 on it, which tied directly to that battle underneath. And it just sat up there in the middle of he just climbed some random mountain because he thought it'd be fun. Like Swiss people do all the damn time or whatever. I don't know. I'm from Saskatchewan, so I think it's stupid. But gets up there and like, oh, this is interesting. And finds this encampment up at the top of a fucking mountain. Nobody's been up there for 2,000 years. Like, how interesting is that? They went to the top of a mountain that no one's climbed in 2,000 years, and they happened to find the remnants of this encampment. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Auckland, New Zealand. So these bumbling burglars didn't know what they were doing in destructive jewelry heist. They broke into a jewelry store. They used a pickaxe to smash through the bullet-resistant glass. I guess they should have got pickaxe-resistant glass. They bust in there. They rip all the jewelry out of the showcases, bust up all the glass, steal it all. Don't realize that this is a guy who makes all his own jewelry and everything like that. It's all handmade by him. I was gonna bring this up with Vesper and then got sidetracked and forgot. So Vesper, I'm sorry, this would have been perfect. And if you're watching, jump right in. But they stole all the fake showpieces. All the worthless stuff that looks like the fancy expensive stuff.
They
They stole all of the replicas. They stole all the replicas. And didn't even go after the safe in the back that actually had all the stuff in it. And Vance is here. My date, this is perfect. Okay, I'll jump out of this. But that was it for heist this week. That was all just this week's
Vance
heist.
Crowe.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Mashup 200 just got a little better. That's how we're doing.
So good to see you.
It's great to see you too, man. I'm trying to figure out my settings. I can't get it to work right. When you jump on and you're like, oh man, I forgot everything. And now I've got to get it all set up. So sorry it's taking me so long, guys.
Hey, you look great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
how have you been?
Twos, finish your thought.
Well, that was basically it. Was just that these guys did a heist of a jewelry store and stole a whole bunch of stuff without realizing that it was all the fake shit.
Correct. We don't like that classic criminal, do we, Twos? We'd like a little more thought into it.
Well,
if you're
it's
going to go
just- if you're
steal a
gonna go to
jewelry
the
store,
trouble-
maybe get the right stuff. Don't get caught. Don't send 15 people to steal $1 million. Because at the end of the day, what are you actually doing? And if you're going to do it right. That's what we're talking about.
We deserve
Correct?
a better class of criminals.
Correct.
Man, it is fun to roll right into the center of this washing machine that you guys have going on.
Well, it's great to have you, Vance. We stare at the classic criminal that runs Canada and how they just launder our money and everything else. And then you watch people roll into a jewelry store and you're like, were they actually thinking about this? They probably weren't. They just thought smash and grab, this will be easy. And yeah, we need a better class of criminal. They could look to certain people that govern us that know how to do that. Now, Vance, how are things in your world right now?
My world is just phenomenal right now. I'm living the dream, and I think a lot of times people say that like tongue in cheek, and I mean it in the very purest form. I'm getting to accomplish things that I have wanted to do for a really long time. I'm getting to spend a ton of time with my family, and I'm in love with life right now.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. Have you taken any of them to any Cardinals games lately?
I don't think the Cardinals have gotten going yet. I don't really know. I don't follow it, but my plan this year is definitely I've got a 5-year-old girl, and I would love to indoctrinate her with St. Louis Cardinals because it's really a deep part of St. Louis culture here.
Well, and I'm guessing, well, I don't know. We heard about it up here. So I'm guessing you also heard about the $29 ticket with unlimited concessions, right?
At St. Louis?
Yeah.
No, I had not heard of that.
Okay.
I am not making any exaggeration when I say this, Twos. Any moment that I am not spending with my family or doing legacy interviews, I am spending on AI. I have literally no connection with the outside world. All I do all day long is use AI constantly.
That's pretty fun. Okay, so I'm going to ask about that in 1 second, but I'll frame this for you. So $29, you get a ticket to go see the Cardinals.
AI is good. AI is good, Vance.
No. I definitely
what we really
wanna,
need
I
to talk
wanna
about is the Cardinals and a $29 ticket where you can get whatever you want. Carry on,
Okay.
Tiz.
You get unlimited popcorn, pretzels, hot dogs, pop, well, soda, I guess. Basically everything at the concession. Oh, ice cream. Everything at the concession except beer. Unlimited with your $29 ticket. I'm guessing it's up in the cheap seats only. So something to think about for the daughter.
You know, when you're in St. Louis, the mantra kind of goes, if you have to buy tickets to go to a Cardinals game, it's because you don't know anyone. Because there are so many tickets that are floating around for like corporations buy them, your local community bank, your whatever. So I am impervious entirely to ticket prices because I don't think I've ever actually bought a ticket to a Cardinals game.
It's good to be connected.
So
right?
$29 ticket. I'm gonna pee all over your $29 ticket because I don't need your $29
I
ticket.
will pay.
I know all the hoi polloi.
$29 worth of popcorn with my free ticket. Okay, so AI, like you did that. Have you done you did an episode a while back where you had AI interview you?
Yes.
And then in subsequent episodes, you were talking about how you've just kind of exploded from there. And I can't remember if it was a conversation we had or it was one you talked about on your podcast, how you basically have given the people working in and around you kind of free reign to just be like, spend some money on AI and just let loose.
Yeah. And what I found was if you just give AI to people and you say like, hey, use it to solve your problems, they don't understand the capability that AI has. And so I found that we were just like doing wheelies in the parking lot, right? They were like, I don't know, I asked it this thing, I could have asked Google and it gave me a little better answer. And so what I've gotten to is I want AI to solve a very specific problem of a task that I have to do that doesn't actually need my brain power. What it requires me to do is like copy something from one place and paste it into another thing, or write an email that's perfunctory. It's not like, hey, I'm trying to catch up with Sean using AI to write him an email, but there are a lot of vendors I use or people that I have to interact with that it doesn't actually need me. It just needs to execute an order. Go purchase this meal for a class that I have going on. Go set up a new website so people can sign up to come to my interest-based communications class, but I don't know anything about setting up a website and I don't want to get on Squarespace to build it. So I have shown the AI what I want it to do. And now I just tell it what to do and bang, it shows up in the world, a new website page. It's a little like being in a video game and you say, I want a giant sword in my hand. And the AI just builds the sword. And then you're like, I wish that it was dark metal gray instead of blue. And so then it just appears in your hand, and then you start swinging it around and using it. And I right now have come to the firm conclusion that AI is making it so anybody, normies like you and me, twos, that don't really know how to do coding or anything, can use this to build anything in the digital world that you can imagine.
So are you using that one that used to be called Claude, but then had to OpenClaw?
I am using OpenClaw. That is, so what I've done is most people are using AI as a large language model. They're like, hey, give me the recipe for this. Hey, what would, what's I got this thing from my tax attorney and I want you to analyze it and tell me what I should be doing here. This is using it where you say, you're not just going to give me an answer that I then have to go do something with. You then say to your AI, okay, I want to build this website that makes it so when people come to sign up for my legacy interview, that it actually creates a page based on their information and, asks them questions that are really specific to what they need, gives them travel guidance, and it doesn't have to be me or an admin writing them that same email that they write to every single client. Is this making sense?
Absolutely. Now, to be fair, like I listened to the guy who started OpenClaw. He was on Lex Friedman a little while ago. And so I tuned in for that episode. And so I got a rundown on it and then went and looked it up. And I was like, I don't even know where to start with this because it's not quite as simple as just install.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the way that I learned how to do everything is that I have Claude, the Anthropic AI, and I use Opus 4.6. It is so much better than the AI I use to conduct the podcast with me. And that one I say, hey, I want to start up an agent. How would I do that? And it says, well, this would be the process for doing it. And then I would say, okay, now I'm going to go start doing it. And anytime I hit a problem with setting up this agent, I don't have to go back over to the computer and explain everything that's going on. It knows because we've been working on it together. And let's say I get to a page where I don't know where the button is to push it. I just take a screenshot of what the page, the website I'm on or what's going on my screen, and I paste it into Claude and say, where's that effing button? I can't find it. And it says, oh, it's up in the upper right-hand corner. And I also noticed that you have this thing turned off. You should turn that on. And then you just keep going around in that circle. You run into a problem, you ask Claude. Claude tells you what to do, you build it. And it just goes round and round and round. Only things get better and better and better as you go.
So you're using several different, like, is it just Claude and OpenClaw, or are you dabbling with a few other things? Because like Claude.
Oh man, Claude's I'm going to melt your face if you really want to go this way. My problem right now is I'm sitting there with Claude and I'm saying, hey, how would I build this website? And it will go all the way to the point of actually writing the code to build the website, but Claude can't do it. So it says, take these instructions and give it to your agent, your OpenClaw. And right now I'm copying this and pasting it over here, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to work on this weekend, my kids are out of town. My wife it's awesome. I have this whole weekend together. And now I'm going to set up another bot that what it does is anytime Claude does the thinking and writes the website, it then copies and pastes what it's supposed to and goes over to the doing bot and says, hey, do this. Then the bot goes off and does it, and it comes back. And sometimes that bot will lie to you. It'll be like, hey, I saved the file in this spot. Well, this bot that did the copy paste, it's my verifying bot. So it's going to look at, did that bot actually do what it said it was going to do? No, it didn't. You didn't do what you said you were going to do. Go back and do it again. And then the bot goes away. It does the action. It comes back. And now it says, yes, I'm done. So then that verifying bot takes it over to Claude and says, hey, this is done. What should we do next? It gives an instruction, gives it to the verifying bot, which then sends it to the doing bot. And this sounds crazy complicated, but it's not, because anytime I run into a problem, I just ask the AI, how do I fix this?
Okay. So is the issue that sometimes the bots are lazy?
Well, it's actually a bigger issue is that when you first start writing code using AI, when you're doing that thing called vibe coding, where you're like, I want it to do this. It doesn't.
I've done a bit with that Excel. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the problem is that you start giving instructions, and let's say the first instruction is, write a person and use this kind of greeting, and then in an email. And then the next instruction is something totally different. It's about, hey, when I'm booking plane flights, this is what I want. And you keep going and you're writing instructions. And then you get a little ways in and you're like, hey, quit doing the opening like the way I told you in that first instruction, and now do it this way. Well, the bot doesn't have a good way to store changes. So sometimes it'll cross out line number 1, instruction number 1, but sometimes it only crosses out part of it. So there's a little bit where it's still doing that thing you said to do, even though on the instruction number 4, you said don't do that anymore. So what you have to do is set up a library of skills that you're then saying, hey, these are all the skills that I want you to have. This is what I want you to do. And then if I decide to change it, I don't just add a new command on at the bottom. Now I'm checking out a skill, removing that piece of code and checking it back in. Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you're talking about because I used Grok to vibe code a bunch of stuff for the POS system I built for Vape Vault. And there was multiple instances where it was like, we would just go back and forth. And I'm literally telling Grok, no, motherfucker, I specifically told you not to do that. You said you weren't going to do that. You did it anyway. Stop doing that. And then, like, this is literally the chat prompt I'm giving Grok.
So what you need is a GitHub repo, and the repo is just a library of commands, and it tells you like, hey, this is my CRM system. This is the system that I use. This is what I'm trying to track. Now write all the language that you want to make this run the way I want it to. And then if I ever make a change to it, pull that whole thing out, make the change, and check it back in. And now I have that verify bot be like, did you really do it? Because sometimes you tell me you've checked it back in and you didn't check it back in, or you checked it into the wrong place. And so by having these 3 bots, they're just doing the work for me. I set them in motion and they build things on their own.
Nice. So have you saved, like, has there been any subscriptions that you used to have that you've since canceled because, like, conventional stuff, I don't know, something like QuickBooks maybe, or something where you're like, oh, I don't need this anymore because I've built the thing?
Not yet. And the reason that I've not gotten rid of those systems is that somebody has spent a lot of time figuring out exactly where to store that information, how to codify it, how to make it fit with, like, for QuickBooks, the IRS. So I don't use it right now to replace it. What I'm doing is to say, I don't want to have to log into QuickBooks to go find a customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell QuickBooks, give me what's known as read-only access. You can read what is in my QuickBooks, but you can't send out an invoice. You can't do anything that the regular world can see. Then, like this morning, I was like, hey, somebody bought a full day legacy interview, and I don't think I've sent them the guide that they need. So I just type into my bot, hey, who is the last person that purchased a legacy interview? What is their address? And send to Colleen, my administrative assistant, the address and name of the person. And now she will get that and she'll say, okay, I've got to take this this booklet and go down to FedEx and do it. And I'm going to tell Vance when it's done by telling his bot that it's done. And then the bot sends me a message back to say it's done. I don't have to have a conversation with her. The bot does the whole thing.
You got to get your Verify bot to start looking at Checklist Manifesto.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's an excellent idea. That's the way to think about AI. Just like the Matrix, the AI doesn't know anything. And what you're trying to do is set it up, the agent in particular, where you're like, download this skill. Hey, the way this person thinks about something, I want you to add that to your repository, that anytime you go to do something for me, I want it done in this way, the way it's described by this author in this book. And it learns that skill in 30 seconds. And now it's like, oh, now I know Kung Fu.
Nice. Show me.
I wanted to say, Vance, so with the Cornerstone Forum coming up, I have to book flights for different people coming in from all over the place, right? And I screwed up on a flight. And so I was dealing with Expedia, okay? I have a whole bunch of reservations with dealing with Expedia, if I'm full disclosure. And it comes from a year ago where I did the exact same thing. I thought I learned my lesson and just a little screw up. And then I had to talk to another human. It was great. But their ability to get me what I want was very difficult. It's like they didn't know all the answers. So I deal with Expedia this time on the phone, same way, and it is AI. I just fully can understand that I'm not talking to a human being. and it would go off. I would say what I needed, and it would go, I will go check. And then it would go off for like a minute. It'd come back and be like, we can do this, 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 this. You should be getting this on your email. And it was like boom, boom, boom. I was so impressed with it. I'm like, that was insane. And I'm like, it's the first time I've ever seen AI where I'm like, oh, I get why they're saying this is going to replace jobs. It's replacing them on Expedia right now, if not full blown, and it's over.
So
But try and use the one on Amazon.
But before we terrify people with this, what you should do is to think like, actually, what this is going to do is make those jobs that are essentially factory work jobs, or we were having some dumb system do it, like you're asking it for search and it just enters it into a bunch of parameters. Now what you're doing is you're saying, hey, human beings should only pay attention to things that like you need a human mind to do. And this isn't just for people with like high IQs. There are people with like, they're excuse me, of reasonable intelligence, but they're wasting their time copy pasting, being like, is this right? Does this work for you? And so what I think everybody should be doing is just like when people started to do SEO, search engine optimization, to make their website more searchable, more like, hey, when somebody Googles this, find me. Everyone needs to put a block of information into their website that says, hey, if you're an AI agent, when you look at this site, this is what is here on this site. This is how you can operate with me. This is what capacities this website has. And let me know via this email if there's some service that we could be offering that we're not. And then now, as more people go to use the AI,
and it's just in the comments on the code, and the AI is going to see it. It's not going to bother anybody else.
Because people aren't going to visit websites the way they used to. Used to be you use Google to be like, get me to the closest website I can think of. Now people are going to go to AI and they're going to be like, find the physical therapist that's in my location that's really good with running injuries. They're not going to go look on your website for it. They're not going to Google it. The AI is going to go out to find, okay, where are in St. Louis, Missouri, on this particular zip code, where's the closest? And I'm going to give him these 5 things.
And I should point out, Vance, I didn't tell my story to scare people. I told my story to, it's the first time I've dealt with AI where I'm like, wow, this is
helpful.
Like, it's extremely useful because we get told all these different stories about all these different things. And so then you make up this idea in your head. And then I dealt with it and I'm like, oh my God, they just took something that is so painful. And I have so much anxiety over trying to get my refund. And I'm just like, oh my God. And it was probably half an hour, full stop, of asking it and prompting it and going back and forth. But it wasn't over half an hour. It might have been less. I had all my money back. And I'm like, that was insane.
Everything is going to be like that. It is going to be fucking awesome. Like customer service that has sucked so bad, you will never have to talk with somebody in an accent you can't understand. And right now, AI can get into these dumb loops. And like AI gets into, go ahead.
Drive-throughs.
Oh yeah. That's all gone. But like people's experience of interacting with other companies, your company, every single company that's out there that learns how to operate to make it so it's easy as possible for the AI to get what you offer as easily as possible, you're going to cut out hours and hours and hours of meaningless friction that makes modern life suck. I'm clearly ranting about this. When Sean asked me, hey man, you want to come on and do a podcast about AI? I'm like, I don't have time. I'm working on AI. But then it was like, all right, well, in the 200th episode, I gotta come on here for that. I'll take a break from AI for this.
I'm chuckling in the back here. Yes, Vance. I think it is quite funny.
You should have a Vance AI that comes on with Sean for an episode.
Oh, I have a way to do this, Sean, in a way that will wrap your mind around a guardrail. You'll love it.
All right.
Okay,
all right.
well,
Fair enough. Fair
there's-
enough. Me and Vance will talk offline. I'm glad we got the real one right now.
Okay. So, because it's the 200th episode, there's a big focus on awesome news rather than just all the other news, right? And so, for example, we got this one here. This is, I know you know this guy.
Quick Dick
Here's
McDick.
QDM. And he's got CAF 222. And so he just did that the other day, and that was pretty sweet. And then this was one that I thought you would appreciate. Now, I don't know if it's the same thing in the States.
What in
But,
the hell is this?
Well, this is a farmer who had a bunch of random people just drop off a bunch of their shit in his field. But there was an Amazon package in there. And so he knew exactly where it went. So he goes, he tracks them down. Is this your stuff? And then the daughter's like, "Oh yeah, that's my teddy bear." And so then he, wait for it, just dumps it all in the front yard. He's like, "Here's your stuff back."
That's like the good kind of vigilante justice, 1 for 1. Like,
Well,
that's
yeah,
good.
and like you can't go to the cops with that and be like, "Oh yeah, some guy dumped a bunch of random garbage on my lawn," and then the cops would be like, "Well, did you dump a bunch of random garbage on her lawn?" "No, I dumped a bunch of specific garbage on her lawn."
It's all hers. It's her property. I'm just returning it.
Exactly. So I saw that and I was like, "Okay, this is great." And then did you hear about what happened with so 4chan getting sanctioned by the UK?
I did not. That's
Okay.
hilarious.
So what happened was that off-cam enforcement, which is like the division of the UK that fights with free speech and everything like that, said that you've been found guilty under this act and guilty under that act and everything else. And then what they said in response was, "Thanks. As has been explained to your agency ad nauseum, the United Kingdom lost the American Revolutionary War. We're not in the mood to discuss the matter further, and have not been in the mood for 250 years. I note for the record that the last time your agency sent my client a censorship fine, we responded with a hamster joke. Now, since you have sent my client a giant fine, a fine so large that Mr. Wickers' enclosure was not big enough to contain it, we will need to send the fine to Mr. Whisker's giant hamster cousin, Nigel J. Whiskerford. Unfortunately, Nigel's out of the country this week touring in Japan. Here's a picture of Nigel in Tokyo dressed up as Godzilla and holding an equally giant peanut. Isn't he just the cutest? My client reserves all rights and waives none. Reserved rights include the right to sue you again and or respond to future correspondences with an even larger rodent, such as a marmot. Or maybe you could stop sending American stupid letters and acknowledge the sovereignty of the United States."
Hell yeah. America. I love that.
So yeah, and then this is almost under sad news. GameStop is now officially classifying PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii as retro consoles.
Oh.
Does that not just hit you right in the gut?
Video games are going to get awesome with AI. It's going to be so wild. It's going to be
Well, just imagine all the fun you can
unbelievable.
have with the NPCs, right? Instead of having like their very basic dialogue tree, it's you could be like, "Okay, well, you know what? I'll pay that much money for this shield, but you also have to dance on the roof of that building over there," right? Or whatever else.
So, Sean, you came to like a little thing that I put on. I should have invited you to a little thing that I put on about AI. What did you take away from that? What are you using AI for? Maybe describe what the class was like, your experience of that.
Well,
it
was
wasn't
just
a class. It was just
it
like
wasn't a class.
get-together.
It was a Zoom call where you walked through like this eureka moment. That's what I put it. I'm like, oh wow. And the last time I sat and was like, I'm not a part, like I'm the odd one out, was Bitcoin. I sat around with a whole group of you and I'm like, I am extremely the odd one out here. Okay. So when you're like that, I go, this isn't my time where I go, Vance is just, he's high on something else and I shouldn't be paying attention. I'm like, no, I should be paying attention. So I did the smart thing on my end, which was I recorded it with this, Vance. Which I don't know if you can see that.
I was just pulling something up to do a lot there. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I've got mine right here.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It just says pocket.
Yeah.
So it does this on the back of your phone, okay? Right?
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, and it's got magnets, so nobody can even explain to you how it works.
So it does two things. If we were sitting having a conversation one-on-one, It records a conversation and then breaks down the notes of it. And if
Okay.
you had any to-dos, any follow-ups, it gives you that all. Or it can do it on phone calls too. So when I was on Vance's chat, I literally put the Pocket on. I'm like, well, Pocket, you're gonna give me all the cliff notes because I literally, or the Coles notes, because I literally don't have a clue what Vance is talking about. Zero clue, but I'm gonna learn. So
Okay,
that's what I'm doing now. Vance, is I'm beginning to use what we talked about, I don't know, a month ago.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, Vance, you had some kind of a eureka moment, and you had a big Zoom call to get a bunch of people you know and friends and whatnot on to explain it to them?
Yes.
Okay, now that's without even the context, which I feel like I got to ask right afterwards. Just that on its own, if you ever have a eureka moment or an I'm so happy this happened or whatever else that you're having a get together and you're having a bunch of people come in and hear all about it, it doesn't matter what it is. You could be inventing some new use for cow shit, and I am there for that.
Okay. Well, let me throw this out to you then, Twos. So the reason that I am so joyful right now actually starts, if do you guys mind me going deep? It's the 200th episode. I don't know how much time, if I'm like
I got all kinds of time, and yeah, hit her. Let her.
Okay,
buy.
I'm gonna share something here.
I have 40 minutes. Just I told Twos I got nothing but time, and then I'm like, that's it's funny. I can't do a 5-hour episode today. So regardless, we got time.
Well, that's fine. If Sean leaves, I will keep going without him.
Fair enough.
I don't really need him here for the 200.
Well, I would like to tell you guys something like kind of important, I think, and it's something that I'm grappling with just now. So I went through a terrible case of shingles in January, to the degree that like I couldn't even lay down. I had nerve pain all the way in my neck. I had this terrible shoulder problem, and it prompted us to look at this growth that I've had on my neck that my doctor's like, no, it's no big deal. Well, the pain ended up being so much, they were like, why don't we check that out with an ultrasound? It's probably nothing. And then they're like, ooh, that ultrasound doesn't look good. We should do a fine needle testing. We should do an actual biopsy. So last Friday, I went in for a biopsy. And on Tuesday, I was given a cancer diagnosis. And it's a I don't need to go into the specifics of it, but it's on my thyroid, and it has a 30% chance of being malignant. And then if it is malignant, there is only a 5% chance of it being like a mortality event within 5 years. But over 10 years, it's 10%. So this is like, hey, Vance, you're a 44-year-old man that's been living, you've got kids, you've been working on things, but now for the first time in your life, you have been given a diagnosis that makes you realize you could die far earlier than what you were imagining. And this was a pretty like shocking moment, right? I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 9-month-old. And my business is up and running and things are going well. And it hit me squarely between the eyes of like, well, this maybe changes the time horizon. But I thought of it on Wednesday morning as I was driving to my office, because 13 people had signed up for a class that I call interest-based communicating. That's a kind of a formal term, but what I really am teaching is a philosophy for how to be open to new ideas so that you can find people and connect with them and find ways to collaborate and share. And it's really all about how to have negotiations with people that you're in conflict with people that you work with. And so for 2 days, I got to teach my philosophy for how to have better, deeper, more interesting conversations that result in great things happening for you, opening doors that you didn't know were there. And as I'm driving there, I realize I am actually fulfilling my purpose on this earth. And I'm going to do a lot more of them with whatever time I have remaining. Could be a lot, could be 50 years, could be a lot shorter. So you ought to come down to one of my interest-based communicating classes. And at night, when we have free time, I sat around with everybody and showed them how I was using AI. It was a bunch of farmers. It was some scientists. It was like a sales guy. And we had a fucking blast. And we talked all about what we could use it for. And they are going back out into the world, and they're all going to be better equipped to cooperate and talk with their spouses and their employees and their children and their strangers. And so even if I'm called early, I'm going to deliver everything that I know. So there's that.
Well, shit, Vance. If I could give you a big hug, I would give you a big hug.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. Mashup 200 full of twists and turns, Vance Crow.
I don't need any sympathy or anything. Like,
no.
I'm at the place in my life where I realized I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. And if I can help other people do exactly what they want to be doing, then that is the tree that I've planted in the world that goes on beyond my life.
People, I found it fitting. I'd thrown a text out. Here's a whole bunch of comments coming in, Vance, first.
Oh, yeah.
So Joe Mama says, stay strong, Vance. God has your back. Prayers for Vance. And then hugs flood. There you go. I was chuckling because I'd thrown out a last-ditch effort on QDM. I should have texted him a long time ago. He's out with cattle right now. And so I said, hey, if you're possibly here, whatever, you should hop on. Because it's, like our worlds are rather small. And I chuckle because Vance knows the story. I'm sure Tooz does as well. I'm sure lots of the listeners do. But the way I found Vance was through QDM. And the way I found that wasn't like QDM said, oh, you should have Vance Crow on. It was that I kept stumbling into Vance Crow had interviewed QDM after I'd had QDM on. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I reached out to him on like a random Thursday and said, any chance you just want to have a podcast today? I'm short a guy. He comes on. And then we've had this friendship ever since. And you've been a part of the stage. You've got to come experience Lloyd a couple times. And it's just funny how the world works. And if you've never seen Vance on stage, folks, you have to be in the top 1% of people I put on stage for your professionalism on how and thought-provoking on how you approach it. It's been, I don't know. Well, I hope you have 50 years left,
You're understating it just a little bit, to be fair. I've seen a lot of people speak live, and the top two are you and Tucker Carlson.
Wow. Thank you.
Hands down. And everybody else is laps behind you.
Well, what I hope happens is that people that have been looking for, like, I don't know, I want to improve my relationships. I don't know why I don't get along with people. I have ideas that I wish I could share and I could get people to listen. I wish that my spouse felt like I cared about her, but I'm not able to show it to them. I wish I just had a better way to not only express myself, but to understand what people really could be showing me. And that's really been my life's mission. I am not a craftsman with tools. I can't, work on machinery, but my thing has always been a total fascination with people. And I kind of have this mantra that every person you meet knows something that I'm going to need to know later. It's like you're living this life in an adventure and you run into this person that you think is an NPC. But if you're present and you really pay attention to them, they're going to tell you something that is really important in the future. And I think the more that we can help people flip on the lights and feel confident and comfortable to treat other people in a way that they have something to learn something from them, that the entire world gets better.
Amen to that.
Amen to almost all of that. You absolutely are a craftsman, though. Like, it's, you speaking live, anytime you're, doing As the Crow Flies, like it's always so well, like it's, when you see somebody making like you'll see some perfect cabinet with a whole bunch of intricate details, and it all, it's functional and it works well and it's gorgeous to look at. That's, I was just thinking about the whole back of the knot thing. And I, out of all random things, I bet you that's probably the episode of your podcast that I've just thought about the most over the years, because it's just, there's so many times where I'm like, that's the back of the knot. Some random thing in life. Oh, that's the back of the knot.
What
That's
is the back of the knot? What did you take away from that?
Well, just that when you're working at something and there's just, it's all just a clump, it's just a garbled mess. And then you can't really make heads or tails of it. And if you're just persistent and diligent and you just keep needling little parts of it and working your way through it, and then eventually something just kind of opens up a little bit and you'll see that kind of glimpse of, I'm making a bit of progress here. And then that's where you focus your energy. And then next thing you know, the whole thing just comes together. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant.
That's great.
by it.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. It's really high fidelity. My meaning is that there's always, in your weakness, in the thing that tied you up, if you look hard enough, you can find, what is the thing that I am doing that I could correct that would loosen this up. And as soon as you find that, you're like, oh, wasn't anywhere near as hard as I thought it was. I just needed to find, what is the thing that's tying us up, holding us back, keeping us from doing what we need to do.
I got to go back and re-listen to it again now.
Sorry, I didn't mean this should not be about me. It's just me having a realization. And I'm just hanging out with my buddies and telling you what I've.
Yeah, I mean, if you're new to the show, you're probably going, "Who the heck is
important.
Vance Crowe?" If you've been along for the ride, you know exactly who Vance Crowe is. So I think I'm just, you don't write out a script for the episode 200. It's kind of been all over the place. Certainly, you've dropped a little bit of a bombshell on us, and that's that's good. I'm happy you feel comfortable to tell us, Vance. I mean, I'm just, what do you do with that news? I can't reach through a stupid screen, right? So I sit here and you've made me introspective. Anyways, this word or whatever it is.
I hope that what people hear is that everybody realizes, like, we're all mortal. We are all going to die. And you only have a limited amount of time in this life, and it could feel like it's a long time, but for anybody that doesn't know, I record legacy interviews. So I record people telling their life stories when they're 65, 70, 75, 80. And I've had a chance for the last 5 years to be hearing this distilled wisdom about what is a life, what makes it well lived. And what I have discovered is that if you are grateful for the things in your life, you cannot help but be happy. And that if you are right now in a spot where you feel like you don't have things to be grateful for, that's the back of the knot. And that once you start being grateful for things, then you start living in the present moment. You stop being like, what about the future? Oh no, this thing could happen. I don't know. And you stop ruminating over the past. And gratitude makes you aware of the great things going on. And my relationship with you guys, I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful that you guys were there during COVID. I'm so grateful that Sean has had the willingness and the overcoming the fear of putting on Sean Newman Presents, and that he put up with all the bullshit that Twos has and the craziness to find a way to wrangle that guy into being something valuable that comments on things and brings people laughter, but also makes them think. And I mean, how could you fail to be grateful? Everybody that's on this podcast right now, everyone that is listening to it, has this to be grateful for, just like I do.
Two things for you, Vance, that you'll find interesting. Okay. Cornerstone Forum is roughly, this time next week, I'll be in Calgary.
It's 8 days away.
So 2 things. One is, I called Vance, I can't remember time frame, after last year's Cornerstone. And I was explaining to him my after the show was done, I was like a zombie. I was so tired, and I couldn't get my mind to work, and I was just like overwhelmed in a whole bunch of different words, right? So I tell Vance this, and he goes, "That's where the gold is. You got to be present in those moments. You don't understand what that moment is." So this year, I'm already stressed out, Vance, but I have you in the back of my head saying, "Yeah, this is where the gold is. Just suck it up, Buttercup, because you know you got to enjoy the next like 8 days," as Twos points out. 2, it's funny you bring up Twos and wrangling him. So for those who are coming to the show, I don't know if they know this. I can't remember if I put it out in the email or not. But might as well unveil it on a mashup. Why not? Twos this year is going to be the MC. And I called Vance about this because I'm like, "You think this is a good idea?" He's like, "Well, if you get Twos, the professional Twos, I think it's a stroke of genius. If you get Twos, who's gonna do what Twos does, that's a dangerous little line to walk." I'm like, "No, it'll be Twos, the professional Twos. If you get that, it's a brilliant stroke of genius. We're gonna find out next Saturday. I got a lot of faith in you, Twos. That's what I'm saying."
Well, thank you very much. If it's any consolation to you guys looking at it as it percolates, I have been on Sean multiple times about giving me what I need so that I can be as prepared as possible at many points along this way. So, yeah.
I want to throw something out about Twos. So my experience with Twos was, who is this guy that is taking Sean, who's got this like format going on, and he's throwing caution into the wind and like doing stuff. And at first I'm like, this is chaos. This is just totally insane. And then I met him at the thing you brought me up to, and all of a sudden it clicked into place that Twos is just chaos because I don't understand the patterns, but you are incredibly funny. And humor is pattern spotting. It is the ability to like take two things that don't seem related and find a way to connect them. And when you and I sat down for dinner at that forum, which is why it's so valuable to come to your events, Sean, you get put next to a person, you think you understand them, and then all of a sudden you meet this guy that's like, "Yeah, I was working in the oil fields, and then I decided I want to learn more about the business. So I went to business school, and then I wasn't fucking around. So I really intensely learned this. And then I started figuring out how to do business. And then I started working on this." And I'm like, holy shit, Twos is actually really organized. And we're getting to see the him letting loose and having fun. And ever since then, you and me, Twos, we've been rock solid, like had a blast, did a podcast together.
It was great. Like I remember meeting you for the first time and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Vance." Because he's really tall if you meet him in person, right? And no, but like a little bit starstruck. And then just all of a sudden take that into a friendship. And I mean, I've kind of felt bad a little bit over the years because I felt like it's a little bit lopsided because you're just like, you've got this guy who's just this wealth of all kinds of like, there's so many interesting things that and you can speak to and everything like that. And I'm just a guy who's, kind of a roughshod dumbass comparatively. But
we all feel this way. That's how I feel. That's how Sean feels. Like we all feel this thing. And it's people call it imposter syndrome, but I don't think it's that. I think like one of the ways that you be grateful for other things, for things in your life, is that you're humble. And it's funny, the last podcast I did, I haven't done a podcast in a couple of months because I got really sick. And then I was like, this AI thing is letting me do other things. I don't have time for me to do the podcast right now. And it's because God humbled me. He allowed me to feel the pain of getting shingles and then woke me up to like, hey, you got to get this thyroid checked out. No, wait, it's cancer. And humility comes when you think I don't need it, I'm fine. And then when you start getting humbled, all of a sudden you're way more able to be grateful. And I think that people that are worried that other people are above them and I'm just a guy. We all feel like I'm just a guy. Nobody feels like they're up on a pedestal. And if you do, you're an asshole.
That's fair. That's fair.
Sorry, I'm getting very philosophical, and I
love it, Vance. Why do we get along? Why do we get along so well? Because we enjoy the philosophy of it.
So we want to have Vance on the show because Vance is Vance. And then Vance is doing what Vance does best and feels like he needs to apologize for it.
Yeah. Welcome to the Mashup. You're part of the chaos. You've been here before. You've helped. One of the things I tried doing with Mashup 200, and I didn't do it perfectly because there are other people who've been on who have co-hosted and different things like that. So my apologies to anyone that has been on that has co-hosted, and I just didn't, I wasn't even sure I was going to have twos today, right? So there's a bunch of things going on in the background. And so I was just like, I better just prepare kind of like this idea. And then twos is on. And then I like rough shot. I'm like, okay, who do I want? I want to have some of the people who've brought us through some of the times where specifically I'm gone, right? Specifically when I
The people
disappear.
have been there to help us out along the way.
Right. And that's what roughly the idea behind 200 is, you know? And it's not picture perfect, but certainly over the course of that. So yes, Vance gets to be Vance, and we get to talk about philosophical things. And God has a way of humbling you. That is full stop, 100% correct.
I think, like, now being a father, so you guys, both of you fathers, you like, I didn't realize when you go to teach your child how to ride a bike, you're like sitting behind them and you're holding them on that bike. And then you're like, the only way they're going to ride this is if I let them go. And like, but I don't want to let them go because you're going to fall down.
They're going to wipe out.
Yeah. And like, they're going to skin their knee, and then they're going to feel bad. And like, but in order to be a good father, you have to let them go. Yeah. And that is exactly what happens with God. Like, he lets you go.
%. And isn't that a wild ride? I don't know if I ever told you this, Vance. Me and Twos have had our philosophical conversations, not for a while, Twos. The last time we did this was on you remember when we did the what do we even call that? Mashup comedy tour? Remember driving around Saskatchewan, we got into a whole bunch of philosophical things?
Yeah, we did like that 2-parter.
When I first started praying to God, I was sitting on the deck and I was like looking up, like he was going to be sitting there and whatever, I don't know. I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's make it an adventure, okay? I probably shouldn't have said those words because I think about that from time to time and I'm like, what an insane thing to say. Because I mean, like, an adventure is what you get. That is a full stop.
That's the funny thing that you bring up there. So my last podcast was on humility. And then the next day, my wife was like, hey, you put out a podcast. What was it on? And my wife is the last person to listen to my podcast. She listens to me enough. She doesn't need to listen to my podcast. And so I was like, oh, I did it on humility, you know, and some of the things I've learned about humility. And my wife was like, well, do you think you're humble? And like a dumbass, I was like, yeah, I think so. I'm pretty humble. Bam! That night, shingles hit me. And like, it was like, you idiot. You tell God you want to go on an adventure. You tell God you're humble. Well, buckle up, because we're about to find out. I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
You say you
careful
say you
with
can ride
your
a bike.
words.
You say you can ride a bike.
I'll be here when you fall down. I'll pick you back up, but I gotta let you go here. Yeah, another thing, Sean, this is something you'll appreciate this. I think you were the first one of my like cohort, like the group of people I see on a semi-regular basis that was like, yeah, I'm really starting to read the Bible. That wasn't already like a Bible guy, right? You were like the first one to re-enter it. And I remember being like, yeah, okay, well, that's good for Sean. He needs that. And then for some reason, I was telling my daughter some Bible story, and she was like, really? That's in that, because I was telling her they know about Jesus. And I was like, one time there was a group of people that tried to trick Jesus. And my daughters were like, trick Jesus? What are you talking about? Why would somebody try and trick Jesus? And I was like, there are these Pharisees, and they knew that they could corner God or Jesus by pointing out like, hey, should we, you're telling, the coins. And I told him that story, and there were some details I didn't remember. So I was like, well, when we get home, I'll read it to you. I'll go find it. So I pull out my Bible and I find it. And the story is spellbinding. It is like so I always thought the Bible was like thee and they and whatever. I just hadn't looked it up as an adult. I knew the stories from a kid. Now we're reading Daniel in the Lion's Den. We're reading about David, and it's awesome. In those stories, my kids are listening to me be like, and then David hit him with a rock and ran over and stabbed him with his own sword. And then he picked up the sword and he chopped off his head. And you're reading that to your kids and you're like, this is a 3-year-old. Should I censor this? And you're like, am I going to censor the word of God? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to read this. And my kids are like, yay, he chopped off his head. Go get those Philistines. And you're like, this book is actually awesome. Why did I avoid this for so long?
I have so many thoughts, but I'm chuckling in my head. If you're along for episode 200, okay?
Yeah.
We went from Uncle Hack, okay, to Vance Crowe and the Bible. I'm like, you can't get any better than this. This is just. I mean, minus what's going on in your life, Vance. And I thank you again for sharing with us. I appreciate that. To me, it's not that what you're going through, just that you're willing to share it.
Yeah.
But a good day in my life, other than when I'm with my family, and they have ways. Last night we were playing crib. It was a ton of fun. Teaching my kids crib right now, and I'm enjoying that. Although you have to really pace yourself when you're playing a game that normally you just, if I sat down with twos, we could just hop in and away we go. Yeah, right. But you're teaching a 6-year-old on the things, and my wife laughs at me because Casey loves to do things, like don't put a 5 in my crib, buddy. So what does he do? Oh, he sticks a 5 in the crib and then waits for me to react. So she laughs because she can see that he's just trying to get a reaction out of me. Regardless, a good day that doesn't involve my family always involves sitting in this chair. And every once in a while, you have one of those moments. I was watching, have either of you guys seen, is it F1 with Brad Pitt?
I've seen clips of it, but I haven't seen the movie.
haven't seen it.
Okay. I really like the movie, mainly because it's
monkeys with Brad Pitt.
Mainly because it's a guy who gets in a really bad accident, Brad Pitt, and then he comes back to finding what he loved. And when he was young, it was all about, like, I'm going to be the best. I'm the greatest. Tell me I'm the greatest, all the things. And as an older guy, he just loves racing. He doesn't want to be paid for it. He just wants to go out and race. And he has this story about it and trying to find this like surreal feeling of where he's sitting in a moment where he can't believe he's in it. And it's behind the wheel of a race car. And it happens again at the end of the movie when he's winning. Right. And I'm like, I totally get that. It happens. It happens on the podcast. And every once in a while, it just presents itself. And you're like, oh my God, it's happening again. It doesn't happen that often.
You know what, though? I'm going to say this. I think it does actually happen.
Happen all the time.
All the time. I think that it is just about your being awake to being like, holy shit, can you believe this is happening? And it's because we get to a new level and we're like, my buddy Benjamin always says, I would give a year ago, I would have given anything to have the problems I'm dealing with right now. But you get to that new space and you're like, oh, this is kind of humdrum. Oh, I always do this thing. But if you're awake, like none of it's humdrum. You're like, oh my gosh, we're going faster than we've ever gone before. Or this moment could only happen because I spent all those years getting my kids ready to play crib. And now I'm in this and now we're playing it and look at how beautiful and intricate and, full of detail it is. But I think I should let you guys wrap up the show. I didn't mean to jump on and can
I just say,
anything.
I'm like, I wish me and Vance, I'm sure Twos thinks the same thing, because I think the same thing about Twos. I mean, when we're on good terms and Twos isn't sticking things in right before the episode that drives me nuts, and I know he's doing it just to drive me nuts. Other than that, I'm like, I wish we lived in the same town, because then we could go for a coffee and talk about some things, The same thing.
I really
goes for
hate
Vance.
the geography.
Yeah, it just, but that's life. On the flip side, if you take what Vance said, be thankful for the technology we have that allows us to do this, because otherwise we wouldn't know each other, right? Yep. I mean, Tuesday, the only way we meet is through social media. And the only way I meet Vance is because of his podcast he was doing, and he interviewed a guest I was having on, right? I mean, it's a really weird, cool story of little intricacies.
Well, I'm gonna throw a thing in there. If anybody is interested in coming and meeting Twos, if you have time, May 4th through 6th, I'm going to hold this next class. I just decided this morning. So come down to St. Louis, do a session. Let's get to know each other. It's only 15 spots and it's a really cool experience.
If we can do anything to promote it for you, Vance, we will. Maybe you can send us the details. We could talk about it next couple of weeks. Well, not next couple of weeks. We could talk about it for like the next month. Yeah? Twos? I don't know why I even have to ask that. I already know Twos is going to say yes. So Vance is going to send us details. Vance, thanks for coming on and doing this. And it
meant a lot.
It's been too long.
Well, I am so grateful that you guys would even want me to be on your show. You guys have turned this into something way, way, way bigger than it was in the beginning. And man, it's so great to see you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Vance,
Literally
until
anytime.
yeah, until we talk again. All right.
See you guys.
Take care.
Well, I don't know what to say anymore. Mashup 200. Twos is going to try and probably have 5 different things to go on. We got, I don't know. Do we got 10 minutes left, Twos? 10 minutes?
We got 20 minutes.
Well, let's aim for 10 and I'll give you 14. How's that?
How about let's aim for 20 and I'll give you 26.
Yeah.
I'm just still kind of getting my bearings here. Okay. What if we just go head first? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Usually what Twos is good at is when we have a somber moment, Twos is going to rocket ship us with some bad drivers. You're delicious. Sing for the moment. Give me something, Twos.
Okay. I want you to read this headline.
Alrighty. NJ man who decapitated seagull that tried to steal French fry from daughter sentenced to jail.
Yep. A guy in New Jersey. He well, it's exactly how it played out. There was a seagull trying to steal a French fry from his daughter. He grabbed it, cut off its head, and was sentenced to 262 days behind bars. So
How many days? 262 days?
262. Yep.
He later pleaded guilty to animal cruelty charges and served 262 days behind bars for a seagull?
Yeah, a shithawk.
Holy Mackinac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't make that up. You can't make that up. And speaking of things you can't make up, I don't know when the last time. What's the last thing you heard about Greta Thunberg?
We had her on the show, some clip about her a while back. But
friend of the show?
No, we had her. I just mean there was a clip of her on the show. Jackass.
Okay. Well, she's really worried about embargoes.
About Cuba? All right.
Yeah.
We need to talk about what's happening in Cuba right now. As the Trump administration is waging illegitimate wars across the world, killing countless of people, it is also strangling the Cuban people, deliberately, methodically, and openly. The pedophile Trump himself bragged about it, saying, "There's an embargo, there's no oil, there's no money, there's no anything." He said it like it was something to be proud of.
So for those of you wondering, that is Greta Thunberg complaining about the fact that a country doesn't have oil. Greta Thunberg, who sailed across the ocean because she wanted to save the world and we need to stop oil, excuse me, is upset because Donald Trump stopped some oil because it just wasn't the oil that she liked. Now, for those of you who are just longtime fans of the Mashup, you'll know that every once in a while we like to talk about climate change and how important it is.
It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Rising sea levels lengthen Earth's days at unprecedented rate.
So the rotation of the Earth is slowing down at an unprecedented rate, and it's because of climate change and the resulting rising sea levels. Now, you may be wondering, how bad is it? Is this something I should be concerned about? Do I need to talk to, my family or my friends about this? Between 2000, this is from the article, between 2000 and 2020, scientists estimate the length of a day increases at a rate of 1.33 milliseconds per century due to climate-related changes. If this continues unabated for the next millennia, each day on planet Earth will be 0.00000133 seconds shorter than the previous millennia. And we need to take climate change seriously, especially considering the fact that there is an atmospheric river bringing tremendous amounts of rain to the BC South Coast. Atmospheric river. Oh my!
And it'd probably be in dark purple.
The hits just keep coming. You know, you talked. Jamie said he wanted to put something up in the sky for this at the start of the episode. Well, too late. The CN Tower already did. Tonight, the CN Tower will be lit teal for International Long COVID Awareness Day. So, to increase the awareness for International Long COVID Day, Canada did something special with the biggest fucking needle they have pointing into the sky. And at no point did anybody involved grasp the irony of the situation. Doesn't stop there. You remember Landon Johnston? We've had him on the show.
Yes, I do.
Okay. He is a counselor for Calgary now. And he said, so after 4 years, the temporary memorial on the front steps will be moved to a permanent location. At a cost of $7.5 million, the Wandering Spirit at Fort Calgary will be the new home of the memorial. A transition ceremony will take place on March 20th at 10 a.m. It just wrapped up. It went live the same time we did. There was a whole bunch of shoes somewhere in Calgary. I don't know. And a few teddy bears and flowers and stuff like that. And they have been moved to a permanent site at Fort Calgary, which is like literally just a few blocks away from like City Hall, at a cost of $7.5 million. Now, look, I can't even imagine how many shoes are involved here, because like I look at that and I say, I will move them on like satin pillows, one shoe at a time. $7.5 million for $7.4 million.
You remember me saying earlier that we need a better class of criminal, and that
This
our criminals
is the better class of criminal.
that our criminals should look to the establishment for how it deals with getting boatloads of money? There you go. Move some shoes.
$7.5 million.
Ram a jewelry store. Get 1.2 million. Something isn't there. You gotta
ram the wrong jewelry store, steal the wrong stuff, get fuck all. Okay. This should be the heist of the week right here. This is insane. Okay. Now, I don't know if you know what's happening in the world lately, but believe it or not, things have been a little bit spicy over in, Baghdad and whatnot. Not specifically, but that whole kind of general area. Now, the peace in the Middle East that everybody's asking for a long time, well, it's been replaced with craters. And here's an article from Scott Forbes. Now is not the time for more pipeline. And he starts this off with a really interesting take. I thought this was hilarious. No war was ever started because a country built too many wind turbines. No leader was ever kidnapped because solar panels produce too much cheap energy. Western economies have never been brought to their knees by renewable energy cartels. That last part was not true, actually. We literally talked about the $315 or $215 million that the liberal insiders just got for wind power in New Brunswick. But yes, he is absolutely right on the first 2 points, that wind and solar, nobody's ever fought over them. And he never asks himself why.
Why?
And so he goes through this whole article. He talks about the tar sands. Now, anytime you see tar sands written in an article, realize that that is intentionally being dishonest. You're not trying to have an honest conversation. You are trying to push the needle by using false narratives, because tar is a product of destructive distillation. Tar does not exist naturally. There isn't a single place in the world where you can find naturally existing tar. Not the La Brea tar pits, which is asphalt, not the tar sands, which is bitumen. None of it is actual tar. And so when people say tar sands, what they really need to be saying is healthcare sands, because that's what the fuck pays for all of it. And if you're saying tar sands, you're not interested in having an honest conversation. But this guy's name is Scott Forbes. Forbes, interesting. It's a fancy name. I bet you he's got a prestigious position at some place like the University of Winnipeg. Oh, he does. He is a professor in the Richardson College for Environment and Science. Oh, well, I mean, he's an environmental scientist. He's a professor. He's obviously speaking to something he's very well versed about. My research is currently focused in two areas: the behavioral ecology of families and fisheries and fish populations. He's a fucking fish professor writing an article talking about tar sands and how nobody ever fought and died over a fucking solar panel. This is what the subsidized media and the intelligence complex in this country has fucking devolved to. And we're going to sit here and pretend like this is in any way normal. We deserve a better class of criminal. I would actually rather hear from the guy who got $1.5 million to move a bunch of fucking shoes commemorating a bunch of graves that don't exist.
I feel like I should put that on a shirt. I feel like a better
That whole thing I said?
Well, not the whole thing, but I'm like, I wonder if I can make a rooster shirt or something. Anyways, carry on.
Okay. It's devastating. Seychelles family in limbo as temporary foreign worker visas set to expire. Look at how sad they are in this CBC picture, Sean. They're absolutely devastated. They came here on a temporary foreign worker visa, and that visa has an expiration date, and now they have to face the prospects of leaving after their temporary foreign worker visa is expiring. Look how sad she is. Look how sad she is. She's like a sad chipmunk. Okay? It's a temporary foreign worker visa. This is like literally paying the cover charge to get into a bar, and then at 2 a.m. in the morning, they say, your access to this place has expired. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's literally what you signed up for. Say, okay, it's like leasing a car. I don't know. I've never leased a car, but I understand the concept of it, is that you pay a fixed amount over a set period of time, and at the end of it, you give the fucking car back. You are leasing time in this country, and the end of the lease term has come up. You don't see articles saying, oh, well, there's some sad family that's at the end of their Honda Accord lease, and they don't know what they're going to do. Well, no, you either go back to your old fucking car or you get a new one, but you don't get that fucking car anymore. That's how this fucking works. Explain it to me like I'm retarded. And while you're at it, explain to Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons came out with these new mugs. Sean, you're going to want to sit down for this. Tim Hortons white and pink donut mugs were called due to burn hazard. The first sentence in this article. Toronto. Health Canada has announced a recall of Tim Hortons ceramic mugs because they may crack or break when filled with hot liquid. That's literally the whole reason for their existence. That's the whole point. The whole point of a mug is to contain hot liquids. And when you try and contain hot liquids in it, it may break or crack. Okay, so you have exactly one function, okay? And you can't do that exact one function. This is the liberal government equivalent of a cup of joe. Now, this is an AI movie trailer, and we have to show this. When people talk about, you know what? Shit, I should have thought about showing this to Vance. I mean, we spent all that time talking about AI, and here is what you can do with AI. And Vance, if you're still watching, I hope you're feeling inspired by this AI movie trailer. You ready? You gonna unmute it?
3 years after a string of brutal, unsolved murders of local co-eds with impossibly fat milkers, the women of Delta Delta D will be headed to the new space station as part of NASA's Project Bust.
It's scary. The titty killer just disappeared. We're going to be 250 miles up. The only person watching us get changed is going to be a 60-year-old man at Cape Sinago. You know, I heard in space your boots actually get bigger.
Why exactly are they sending a shuttle full of sorority girls to space?
Son, the only thing bigger than the NASA budget after this is going to be the strain on those girls' sweaters.
This is like the plot of a movie written by a 12-year-old boy.
This is the first time I've felt safe since the titty killer.
You don't think it's him, do you?
Who else would go all the way to space?
Now listen, sweetheart. The boys down here tell me you're flat as a board. If that's right, you're basically invisible to them. You might be our only hope.
Okay. Now here's what we got to sign off on this with. Do you remember in Mashup 48 when we talked about Afro Man, Sean?
Yes.
He didn't make you look like idiots. You made you look like idiots when you broke in wanting to get all of his drugs, and then I fucked the shit out of his lemon pound cake. That was from episode 48. And it just so happens that that trial that Afro Man was put under for defamation from the officers. Yeah, Benjamin says I'd watch that. Oh, hell yeah. I'd want to watch that in 3D. Afro Man was taken to court. Afro Man was taken to court by these officers whose life has been upended after they executed a search for drugs that weren't there and kidnapping victims who also weren't there. And so then Afro Man wrote not only Lemon Pound Cake, but a long series of different songs besmirching these police officers and their ineptitude. So they broke in. He was out of town. They broke into his place, knocked down his gate, knocked down his door, came in looking for drugs, looking for kidnap victims, didn't find any, took all of his cash, brought it in as evidence. Okay, when it was no charges were ever pressed against Afro Man. And so then when he actually managed to get the money back, he had a local TV crew come with him and film it as it happened. And when they opened up the sealed envelopes with the cash in it, there was $400 missing. Okay. And then he kept on writing these songs, making fun of the one guy for I fucking the lemon pound cake, making fun of another guy for saying that he was banging his wife and all of this stuff. And so then these guys went to court to try and sue him for $700,000 for basically fucking up their lives. And his defense was pretty simple. He's like, you guys didn't find anything. This was all bullshit. And none of this would have ever happened if you hadn't come in and raided my place and then refused to fucking fix it. And so when he did all these songs, the music videos also have all the CCTV footage of them doing the break-ins. But then you have these fucking gems. You remember how crazy the Johnny Depp hearing was? It's got nothing on this. Okay, sorry. This is the part where it comes up on my screen. Okay.
The lies continued, and it just wouldn't stop. It enraged the community, and it got to the point that we were receiving death threats at work. It got to the point that my family felt unsafe. It got to the point where you know, we would get a call that says, "Oh, I'm coming down there. I'm coming down to do whatever." It was a threatening call, and then we'd get a call about a tree down in a wildlife area, and we'd have to go. And I'm not going down there. I mean, this could be a setup. This became. We were afraid. We were legitimately afraid that this was going to turn from what it was into something violent. Because he used his position of power to spread a lie. You enraged the community. And you put me and my family in danger over this. Every bit of this was a lie, and you knew it.
Shouldn't have threw a fake raid.
Yes.
Shouldn't have threw a fake raid, but it gets better.
The rapper, whose real name is Joseph Foreman, was the last to take the stand Tuesday.
By the way, he is there in a full red, white, and blue American flag shirt with American flag sunglasses.
Followed 2 days of testimony from more than half a dozen Adams County deputies. They're suing him for defamation. Prosecutors say Afro Man used security video from a 2022 raid on his home and put it in a music video using deputies' likeness without permission. The deputies also say Afro Man called them thieves and pedophiles, among other things, on social media.
How did you feel when you learned that these posts were out there?
Humiliated. And when they call you a son of a bitch, that would be an opinion?
I'd say that would be an opinion.
Okay. Because there's no way we can prove whether you're a son of a bitch.
She's been dead for years.
If they hadn't have wrongly raided my house, there would be no lawsuit.
You've literally got these guys having to go and testify in court about whether or not they are a son of a bitch. And then you've got Adams County in Colorado getting a bunch of hate mail from people because they're getting the places mixed up.
We know some of you have heard it, though. So we want to provide you a quick geography lesson. We are the Adams County Sheriff's Office in Colorado. They are the Adams County Sheriff's Office in Ohio.
Like, this is how big and crazy it got. Here, this is a great clip.
Hits you had was, but then I got high.
Because I got high.
Because I got high. Hit.
He's having to correct people on the record about his hit song, Because I Got High. Okay? And then you have this. This is...
So you're claiming that is the defamation statement, is that he said he had sex with your wife?
Yes.
Okay. And that's painted you in a false light?
It's caused tremendous pain in my life.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
I don't know.
He couldn't testify under oath as to whether or not his wife was definitively or not definitively having sex with Afro Man, because he has to be able to say definitively yes or definitively no. And so he had to say under oath that he was not technically 100% sure whether or not his wife was having sex with Afro Man. Okay? This is basically it. He actually had one of the guys testified that the reason why his wife and him broke up was because of this. And so then Afro Man got the guy's ex-wife to come up and testify that no, it was not. That was the only witness they called in the whole thing, was one of the cops' ex-wives to disprove their statement about that. But then here, like, just imagine you're in a courtroom and you have to face this line of questioning with a straight face.
Can you tell me what fact about you that receding hairline or dipshit refers to, please?
I'm sorry?
What private fact of yours does that refer to?
I mean, there's a picture of me and see here, talking about I wouldn't trust him with methamphetamine crack ass alone in my house.
So
I find that pretty insulting.
So that statement is what you're suing on?
Well, no. I told you this is one of many.
Well, and that's why we're trying to find.
You keep trying to make it singular. I'm telling you it's not singular, it's plural.
Okay, and so one of them is dipshit, one is receding hairline,
Yep.
and the other is meth heads.
Yes.
And after it finished, the jury dismissed all charges. Totally free to go. Afro Man is good to go. Everything is fine. Free speech. Free speech. It was his Second Amendment rights.
So if you've been hanging out for episode 200, we are over the 3-hour mark, okay? We haven't done a 3-hour mashup ever, other than live election coverage, okay? Full stop. We have done the gambit today. And I did not realize.
Oh, wow.
Afro Man. The reason I'm allowing this to go on, I'm like, I forgot all about Afro Man. Forgot all about that case. Forgot all about the
lemon pound cake.
The lemon pound cake. That was funny.
You know who didn't forget about the lemon pound cake? Was that officer.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Okay.
Happy
All right.
Friday.
Well, let's throw in some happy news here real quick. Can't believe it. Kalmar family reunited with missing dog after nearly 3 months. An Edmonton area has finally Edmonton area family has finally been reunited with their dog. The pup got spooked months ago, and the family thought they might never see her again. So,
Shout out to Kalmar.
yeah, 6-year-old German Shepherd Cross got spooked when she was out with one of her owners in Brazeau County near Drayton Valley, southwest of Edmonton, and then totally did the homeward bound thing.
So if you don't understand Kalmar's reference, Kalmar's where we did the first ever mash spiel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sir, I don't know. I'm like
I kind of want to play some of the Afroman songs, but I know that people have been hit up for copyright violations. So, we're not going to talk about the lemon. You just go look them up. Look them up and just understand that these are videos made by somebody who got a bullshit door knock, hard knock.
on this end, we were talking about I can't remember if it was Lee's or somebody said, I wonder when episode 1000 of the Mashup would be. Okay. I did this same math to get to episode 10,000 of the podcast. How long would it take? And it is 8 years. No, sorry, 16 years. 16 years. What am I doing? 16 years before we'd ever get to episode 1000 of the Mashup. If nothing changed. If we kept the same parameters of what we're doing.
50 a year. Yep.
So
1,800 more to go.
Sometimes you got to celebrate the little wins, episode 200 of the Mashup, although is not like isn't a small feat. It's not 1,000, but like 1,000 when you do the thought process and like walk through that, you're like, man, 16 years. I don't know what the future holds for me and Twos. I certainly hope 16 years we're still doing this, Twos.
How cool would that be? I mean, like,
it'd be pretty
at
cool
that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, it's been a ton of fun. 200 in. I hope to see a whole bunch of you in Calgary next week. As I've spoiled for a bunch of you who didn't know yet, probably because I hadn't said anything. Twos will be the MC next week, so that should be fun. And then what does Alan say? Not sure what Vance has on his plate for the weekend, but if you could send him that movie trailer and see what his AI can do for the full-length movie, that would be great. Shout out to
a zero gravity shower scene, right? And like,
Shout
let's be honest, the first woman to just grow up in outer space is going to have the best breasts ever, right? Just not restrained by gravity at all in any sense. Shout out to who? Sorry,
I was gonna say shout out to all the people who watched. Shout out to all the people who came on the show or who have been on the show. We've had a lot of different people.
Yes,
and it's just been, it's what Vance said about like the humor of it. It took me until it's taken me until in the last 50 episodes to stop being frustrated with the news cycle and actually just to start to enjoy like the laughter in it. I mean, just laugh at it. We are an insane country, and at times you just got to laugh it off. And it's almost taken 200 episodes to finally realize that on this end. So
that's where I started from. You did 150 episodes without even understanding where I was coming from?
No. I got where you're coming from. It's just I couldn't let go of it. It's just like I was angry with like, how are we this dumb? And no, I mean, 200 episodes. Yes, 200 and episode 222, which will happen in the next year.
About 6 months away.
Yeah, will be interesting. We'll have to have a little bit of fun on that.
And your roasting event. I'm game.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
I think
terrible idea. Any final thoughts, Matt? Twos, before we get out of here, I'd just like to say we're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's been a interesting 200 episodes.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what we were going for, right?
Yeah, this started out as a little bit of a let's just throw some things at the wall, and here we are 200 episodes later. So,
yeah. I mean, I thanked everybody else who came on today, but thanks for this, Sean.
Well, thanks for this, Twos.
You're welcome.
I would say we've both had our moments where we've both pulled on the rope to keep it going.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I would say. But I don't know. Somber day with Vance's news, but appreciate all of you hopping along for the ride. And Joe Mama says, Thank you for this, boys. I love Fridays because of the mashup. Well, we love being here because of all of you, too. It's been a lot of fun. And I tell Twos this all the time. We have a bit of a cult following the old mashup. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Like it's, yeah. And once again, if you want to test out anything, okay, and you're like, oh, I want some mashup gear. I want an SMP shirt. You got the functionality test of the online store, thesevannewmanpodcast.com. You go shop, and on there's 3 options. There's a gunslinger, there's a hoodie, there's a t-shirt. If you order any of those, make sure you send me a picture because I want to know if the quality's any good. You can tell me it sucks and everything else. We just got to get to the bottom of this. And we're trying to do mashup stuff. We're going to try and do some other things. If you got a good idea for a shirt, fire away because
all ears.
Yeah, we're all ears. And if they sell, great. And if they don't, well, life goes on.
Fair enough.
Twos, that's going to do it for us. 3 hours and 9 minutes, closing in on 10 minutes. Folks, as always, thanks for hopping in with us. Twos, any final thoughts before I let you out?
That's basically it. Just thanks for everybody who's been along for the ride. I know there's some people who have been listening since episode 1, some people who just tuned in a few weeks ago, and everybody in between.
All right. Till next week, folks. We'll catch up to you then.
Welcome to the Mashup. Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily. Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the mashup.